Hello, everybody. We are live once again for another show about radio. And that looks good. And I look good there. Hello, everyone. We are live for a second day in a row. And nice to have everybody on board. Nice to have you on board. So, hey everybody. What? What are you talking about? So anyways, hey everybody, welcome aboard. This is another radio live show. And we have this show every 2 weeks on Saturday, so this is the Saturday edition of the Shortwave show. Today is Pirate Radio Special. What does that mean? We're going to talk about Pirate Radio. I've got some things to read. I've got some news about pirate stuff. And we're going to chase pirates. And, you know, it's an amateur radio contest. Look at the 20-meter band today. That's the 20-meter band right now with all the signals. It's just amazing. That is a contest for you, I can tell you that. So for those that want to tune in, you know, in a contest what's cool is you can DX the world in 15 minutes. You'll have 20 countries. You can actually have a country per minute if you want in here. So hey everybody, my name is Jill. I'm located in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, and we are here to entertain, talk about radio, have fun, and that's pretty much it. And so, pretty cool. Of course, beer drinking. Yeah, of course, it's part of the radio show. I started a little early, guys, because yesterday I only drank 2 beers out of my 6 beers. So I thought, while I was setting up, why not start a little early? Come on. Cat wants to say hi with his little eyes that are sleepy. So anyways, this is a show about radio, shortwave radio in general, anything radio. And we are here today on this special Pirate Day because also we going to talk about Global HF Pirate Weekend coming next week. So here's Mr. Paul saying hi to everybody. Hello, Mr. Paul. Say hi to everyone. Look at that. Anyone that wants to give a donation, come on. For this little guy, I'll take that money and spend it on this little guy. So if you guys want to make a donation. I'm working with, the cat. So, Paul the cat saying hello to everyone. And really nice. I've heard, I did hear some stations on 15 meters also. So, it's kind of cool to have all of you here. So, only if DX has a PayPal account. I'll have to create a special PayPal account just for the cat. DX the cat PayPal account. And all that money will go towards Paul. Oh, man. Nice to have everybody here. So, anyways, today we're going to chase pirates. There's already one. I was looking earlier. Apparently there's Channel Z Pirate right now on 6300. So if any of you guys want to try it out, 6300 AM mode, I think, is Channel Z Pirate on the air right now. And, listen in. There might be some pirates broadcasting my audio. So, lasagna transactions. There should be a PayPal, you can pay with food. So it's like, oh, you've got pizza, or you got lasagna, or you got whatever. Yes, I know I will be in some competition with with Paul the cat. He's going to have more money than me. That I'm sure about it too. There's going to be more money. So nice to have everybody on board. We're already at 50, and it's like we just started. You remember, guys, when I started doing these shows, and we barely made it to like 20 or 30 people in the height of the, and now I've been on for just 4 minutes and we're at 55, which is like, okay, it's kind of cool. It's, it shows the progression of everything that I do, which is really nice. So, hey everyone. Excuse me, Mr. Paul. I will just say hi to everybody. So just put yourself like this. This will be better. Coca M. Nice to have you here in the UK. And nice to have you on board. And of course, tonight we're going to chase pirates. So check out the pirate bands and tune around. And if you guys hear a pirate or what you think is a pirate, just, share it with us. Manny CV, hello there. David Williamson, nice to have you here. Fast load, hearing nothing. Now I heard nothing too. But there is one right now, apparently, on 6300. Chris Freitas, nice to have you on board. Move over so Ron McLaughlin and Jill can make Paul the Cat force donations. Ah, God. And talking of Sarah McLaughlin, she disappeared. I was a big fan, and she was like, she's kind of not there anymore. I don't hear anything about, she was good. David in Barcelona, nice to have you here. David Green, Nicola Hughes, nice to have you here. His cat is sniffing the screen. My cat is zero interested in cats on the screen. I look at YouTube videos where the cat goes crazy because there's a bird on the screen or another cat. My cat doesn't care of anything on the screen. He looks at it and he looks at me like, yes, so. It's just, it's as if in his mind it's like, yes, so it's on the screen. I don't care, Even looking at himself in the mirror, he's like, yeah, so it's me. You have the impression it's like, it's me. What do you want? So, I don't know. Bobby Burgess, MDK2, Big Stack 171. Nice to have you here. And yes, 15 meter is open. Heard a few stations earlier. What else? So, Chris Freitas is watching with his NVIDIA Shield TV, which I think might be the same thing for Fastload, by the way, in the chat room. Probably. And by the way, Fastload, I saw your post. Apparently, the Laval Amfest was not super interesting, from what I gather from your post. Nicola used as T. That's perfect. Whatever you have, it's great. Great. Lehigh for you. Nice to have you here, Mad Radio DXer. I will be reading your post a little later about pirate radio in the London area, which is very interesting. Randall Klontz, hello there, Northeast Illinois. Jerry DX, nice to have you here. So Tom Zhu, hello there. We have anybody else? So Fast Load. Nick Amendot from Romania, nice to have you here. And David Green says 11 meter is really strong. Well, it depends on what is making 11 meters open, because it could be sporadic e-skip, which means it could be from many different places. Richard Cook, hello there. Paul B. Fabrice Simonet, bonjour et bienvenue. Always nice. Anything else? Anybody I've missed? Say hello, please. I want to say hi. I'm going to go back down the list slowly. Nice to be on board, absolutely. Let me just go down. So, very nice. Rich Hill. How do pirates get away with it? We'll talk about that. Kimberly, K6YYL. Vianney Arsenault from the Gaspésie area in the eastern part of the province of Quebec, Canada. Bienvenue, Vianney. What else do we have? MDK2 says, but if pirates are dumb and cause interference, yeah, we're going to talk about that. It's a question to add, to ask and to answer. Lee Locke, nice to have you on board with your two dogs. So hello there. What are their names? Ruff McLeod. Ruff McLeod. I like that. Good afternoon. Nice to have you here. So David Green says from Iowa, where we have, I saw your post. Got a blizzard there. We don't want it. Keep it. Or push it away somewhere else. We already had enough snow this winter, and we're still in. It's kind of cold today. It didn't go above 0 today. And it should be like plus 6, 7 Celsius. So we're kind of cold for this time of year. What else do we have? F. Blassie from Oakland, California. Nice to have you on What do we have? Matt Gleason, nice to have you here. Bill Mead, nice to have you there. Always fun to have all of you here. Yeah, well, 11 meters is usually more of a CB. It's out kind of the out of band CBers, kind of illegal transmissions that are in 11 meters in general. But sometimes, some of the illegal stuff also go into the 10 meter band, which is not cool, honestly. Man Boy, hey there, nice to have you here. Steve and Maxine in Australia, nice to have you on board on what I guess for you guys is Sunday morning, early Sunday morning. What else do we have? Bobby Burgess says 20 meters really coming in hot. Oh yeah, it's amazing. Look at all these signals, man. 20 meters is just hot with signals from everywhere. On 14200, I was listening to a station from Ukraine, United Radio 2 something. Pretty amazing. So today we are going to talk about pirate radio. We are going to basically have tune the bands, try to search for pirates. Of course, you guys might be hearing some of the pirate stations rebroadcasting me. Who knows? If you do, just give a shout out, and we'll be checking out the different. We have also recordings of old pirates that are gone and that don't broadcast anymore. Found a few websites with some recordings, and we're gonna have fun. NL13851, hey there, nice to have you here. Man Boy says love the t-shirt. And as a tech guy, what people don't realize, they find this as a joke. But as a tech guy, in reality, this is not a joke. We're dead serious. No, I will not fix your computer. You get to that point where everybody wants you to, oh, can you look at my computer? There's a little thing popping up. It's like, I don't care. It's your computer. I don't want to look at it. I just don't want to look at it. Forget it. So, 68 Fahrenheit in Memphis. Not bad, not bad. Yeah, it is the truth. Actually, any tech guy will tell you it is the truth. I don't want to look at your computer. Okay? Forget it. So, how can pirate radio, because honestly, pirate radio stations are illegal. So that means that they are broadcasting and breaking the rules of the communications. And so, of course, the question that came into chat, which is, how they can get away with it. Well, they don't always, first of all. It depends where, how, and the things that you do. For example, a couple of weeks back, there was a news item actually it was on the International Radio Report, one of the Sunday mornings I was there, about that pirate station that was like broadcasting on two frequencies at the same time. And, aren't you just like playing with fire when you do something like that? And of course, there's pirates on all sorts of frequency ranges. So you don't have, there's the ones that I listen to most is the shortwave pirates. They're the ones that probably get away with it much more than anybody else. The shortwave pirates, more difficult to find. They're often, because they could be heard from really far away. And you know what? What I was saying in that International Radio Report show is that shortwave pirates tend to be more civilized than many other types of pirates, like FM pirates, for example. And of course, it's more difficult to find out where you are broadcasting on shortwave and being heard hundreds, if not thousands of miles away. And if you don't interfere with anybody, and that's the key to being caught or not most of the time. Most pirates that do it in a way that they just don't have anybody complaining about, usually there's nothing going to happen. There's this sense that, the government or the FCC or the Industry Canada here in Canada, they're listening in all the time and they're going to get those pirates. No, they're not. They don't have the resource for that. Honestly, when a pirate gets caught, somebody just stooled him. Somebody just said, hey, there's that guy doing that bad thing on that frequency, and complains about it to the FCC or whatever organization in your country. And that will start rolling things of, okay, we're going to try to find out where he is or not. Sometimes it's because they're interfering with real things. And so the shortwave ones, we don't see much in the way of they're being caught. Almost every time when we see pirates that get caught, they're FM pirates or medium wave AM pirates. Why? Because now, let's say that you put yourself in an FM pirate, which is something I would never do, honestly. You put yourself, on the FM band, on the frequency where nobody's there. I mean, it's so easy to actually find where you're transmitting from when it's, line of sight frequencies. Also, if you do it, and sometimes, some of those will operate on frequencies where, maybe there's nothing in that vicinity where you are, but maybe there's a station farther away that some people have been complaining, hey, I hear that dude doing something on that frequency also, and the station will, complain. I've seen some also that were because of, for example, there's a lot of pirates that have this habit of using like 108 megahertz on FM, which is really the top part of the FM band. Problem is, it's close to the bottom part of the air band for the airplanes and airports. And even if you're not there, sometimes a lot of pirates have transmitters that are like kind of flaky and not well organized, not well tuned in. So they'll have, images showing up. I've seen a lot of pirates that have been caught simply because there was an image or there was a spurious signal that was simply in somewhere in the middle of the air band, which honestly can be very dangerous, because if there's an emergency or something, you're interfering with aircraft communications. Something bad could happen out of that. So a lot of those get caught because of that. The ones that get caught 99% of the time are the ones on FM or AM, medium wave, because it's easy to pinpoint, because you might have somebody that just doesn't like that. For example, every time I do a pirate radio special, I get hate mail from some hams or amateur radio operators that say, well, how do you dare talk about illegal stuff? There's something called amateur radio, which is legal and has a license, and they should get their licenses and so on. And, you can't please everybody. I understand part of the reasons of pirate radio activity. A lot of these people are in a sense of the radio waves are in reality something that's free to everyone, and that there should not be such a thing as regulations or asking for a permit to transmit over the air. Obviously there's a reason for it that's very simple. If you are, if it was a free-for-all, there would be like transmissions overlapping everywhere, and it would be kind of a big problem. So, I understand the side of regulation, which is fine and nice. Maybe where I would reach more into the pirate level, for example, here in Canada, say I would like to start, a experimental FM station, or maybe even on shortwave. Well, you can't really unless you have a lot of money, because just starting the process of asking for the permissions and everything, you're already like $300,000-$500,000. So unless you got a lot of cash, forget it. You're not getting on the air. That side, I say there should be some way of, maybe have a ban somewhere of pirate stuff where, well, not pirate, but regulated stuff by people that would like to have their own voice. But, it's a complex thing. It's very difficult to manage all of that. So some people take the airwaves and say, well, you know what, the airwaves don't belong to anyone, and I am allowed to transmit if I wish. And that's it. So the spirit behind pirate radio is a little bit that, the free spirit of, hey, stop governing what I should do or not do, or, it's a little bit like driving a car and having no license. It's not supposed to happen, but I'm pretty sure there are some people out there that do it. So, it's something to think about, But usually, and I would say that most of the people that I've seen, with, being caught are most of the time, somebody complained that they were on the air. Somebody complained about interference, maybe, interference showing up because of their broadcast or something. So, but most of the time it's that, because don't interfere with anyone. Do it on another thing that you shouldn't do is a fixed schedule. I'll be here on the FM band every Thursdays. Yeah. I know that it's cool because everybody knows on Thursdays you're there. But the FCC will also know that you're there on Thursdays. So, most pirates will get away with it by the randomness of their broadcast. Yeah, Nicola Hughes, nice to have you here. And have you tried turning it off and on again? I love the IT Crowd. For those that have seen the IT Crowd, it is an amazing series. For geeks like us, they're just great. Daxfire74, nice to have you here. Gary, W2GJW from New Jersey. Thank you very much for the nice comment. What do we have? So Lee Locke, anybody I've missed? Douglas Perry, hey there, nice to have you here, as always. NDK2 says, it's funny to me how some hams are so passionate about the topic, but I think the restrictions on hams are too much, which is why HF piracy happens at all. Yeah, absolutely. It's like everything in life. I mean, there's the people in life that are like, by the rules and by the laws, and they can't accept that they do something out of the regulations. There's people that are, in the middle. I think the majority of people are kind of a mixed bag, meaning we do our best to be the best person and best people, but we do these little things here and there that should not be. And that's probably the majority of the people. But in general, that are like minor, they're not really that much of a problem. And there's the other extreme, that's abiding by rules of, no, I can't accept that there's regulations, and I can't accept that I will have to be within the confines of the regulations. I think the same hands, honestly, that complain about how dare you talk about pirate radio, or, the hell with pirate radio stations, are probably the same that complains about, well, now they've removed the CW requirements, so that means a bunch of idiots will become amateur radio operators, and we worked hard to get our license, it should be like that for everyone. And not moving on and thinking that, well, in 2018, if you want to have people join the amateur radio community, yeah, you gotta kind of lower the standards. There's no choice. You won't get people if you have the CW requirement. And yeah, I think anybody that did the CW requirement and had to pass that Morse code test before getting their ham license, that's super cool. You guys have been great. But times are moving on, and you gotta adapt to the times also. And I think it's maybe the same generation, the same type of people that, no, this is how it should be, and that, Me and Fastlow, we talked so many times about how we listen to the 2-meter amateur band. I think Fastlow told me once he was listening to some hams talking about electronics or something, or radio. And he told me, honestly, when you do your shows and you're not even an amateur radio operator, your knowledge is a million times better than these guys. And the reasoning behind it that I also, to a certain extent, reach is, amateur radio operators have technically should have a minimum of technical knowledge. But honestly, I listen to the 2-meter band sometimes, and I'm gonna tell you, it's there's basic, and I hear things on that 2-meter band sometimes, and wow, you really did get a amateur radio license and do not understand that, which for me is a nonsense. For getting that license, that you should know. But it comes with the fact that, one of the things about amateur radio is in also the exams. The exams are kind of meant or done in a way that most of them are, multiple choice. So if you have a good memory of, or just using just thinking about it, using the approach where you're thinking about the question and looking at the answers, and you can, that must be this because that's nonsense and that. Which means if you got a good memory, you can have your HAM license without really knowing nothing about radio. I see it a lot on the amateur community, and I don't know what to say. Because the basics of an amateur radio operator would be to have a basic knowledge also of radio, antennas, electronics, and operating procedures, if you want. And yes, 2-meter band sometimes sounds more like a CB band than an amateur radio band. But, you gotta also understand that, there are ways to become amateur radio operators, and we can also, we can make it too difficult, because honestly, too many people will not become hams, and the hobby will die because there's not enough new blood in there that will want to perpetuate and continue what all this is about: amateur radio, shortwave radio, and all of this. I'm here to promote and talk about everything that is radio related. I love, I'm not licensed. I love the amateur radio community. I love everything about it. I know a lot of you say, would give me a big kick in the butt and say, go get your, ham license, man. And yes, I should. Absolutely. I should get on the HF bands and everything. And I'd have to do it. But at the same time, we got to make it not too difficult because there are too many people. I think it's funny because for some reason I have the impression we're heading in a direction where everything needs to be simpler, unless if it's not simple enough, people, the younger generation, are not interested, which is maybe a little different. Maybe I'm wrong in what I'm saying here. Maybe I'm totally wrong, but we got it hard. I learned shortwave by buying books and listening to DX programs on the shortwave bands and everything, and learned like that, and was passionate about learning about it. That's also maybe a difference. I'm passionate about. I opened that big thick book and I read it from page 1 to page 896 because I really wanted to learn, and I just loved and craved about radio. Maybe that's why I'm here also, because I still am passionate enough about it to do these shows and do videos and try to have everybody together, But it's an interesting topic, and it's an interesting thing. And it comes to the fact that, pirate radio stations sometimes might be there. And you know what? Honestly, I think some pirate stations are licensed amateur radio operators. I wouldn't be surprised that there's part of the pirate station community that is honestly licensed amateur radio operators that have that little rogue side that they go to, and sometimes just like, hey, tonight I'm going to fire up the rig and, let's broadcast and, and just have fun and do my little thing. I've got that big transceiver in front of my face. Could be used for something else than just amateur radio, Who knows? Donald Osner, nice to have you here. W8SWL in Michigan, USA. Mr. Henry, 1876, nice to have you here. Pretty cool. The K2 says in the USA, it's also the fact that low power FM was snatched up by NPR and I think other deep pocketed broadcasters. So low power FM was truly a people's platform. There'd be less FM piracy. There's a lot of things like that happen. Maybe there could be frequencies for a other class of, when they did the FM bands or anything. They could have done part of it for experimental stuff, I don't know, and have a lower standard of requirements for you to get on the air, maybe, So, what else is there here? Max Estrong, hear aliens on his R4G7. Cool. Jack Amelar, nice to have you here, says, remember 25 years ago, the default pirate shortwave frequency, 7415, FCC closed down some signing potential to cause interference. Then 50,000 watt US shortwave broadcasters get on the frequency. Absolutely. 7415, 7425. And, we know that there's been a lot of talk in the past few months when we were talking about double BCQ, for example, that I'm a little pissed off about right now because they dared ask money and suddenly they find, crying that they don't have cash to rebuild their transmitter, and suddenly they got cash for a 500 kilowatt transmitter and antenna farms and everything. And of course, it comes to the fact that we have these rumors all the time that the US government is actually giving cash to these stations to stay on the air. And look, it's very strange, 7415. We got to think about it. There's two ways to think about it. There's okay, if I would be a shortwave broadcaster coming on the air for the first time, if I could get on one of the most popular pirate frequencies, there's a advantage to that because everybody knows the frequency. But at the same time, kind of weird. Gets licensed and uses what was the most popular, absolutely, the most popular pirate radio frequency. Absolutely. William Helms in Florida. Nice to have you here. D. Helkins from the Lone Star State. Nice to have you here. Moss. Oh, God. I actually like the fact that the boss doesn't know anything. The girl doesn't know anything about computers, and it's always fun. I like the episode when she has to do the shareholder meeting because she's employee of the month, and they give her a little box with a blinking light and said, "This is the internet." It's like, okay. And, it's not even a joke because 90% of the people would look at it and say, "Oh, wow, you've got the internet." It's, it's as simple as that. David says, one problem that I see is that for one-way broadcasting purposes, there's no way, that I know, to do it legally on an amateur basis. Either you're a big radio station or nothing at all, and that is totally true. Why wouldn't there be, for example, for example, a side to the amateur radio community that could also be broadcasting? We're talking about the shortwave bands slowly getting quieter. Why don't we give the ability to a specific set of amateur radio operators Want to set up a shortwave station of your own? As long as you're licensed, as long as you have, maybe keep it for the highest class amateur license, if you really want to. But that would do as a middle point. And I think that would transform the bands into some interesting stuff. That would be absolutely amazing, I think. Not just having the big gun, private broadcasters in the US, but why not open up the bands to certain amateur radio operators that would say, yeah, I would like to broadcast on the bands, and have specific frequencies where you're not an amateur radio operator contacting another station. You're a station. You're a broadcast station on the international bands, doing your show. And if you want, do some guidelines to keep it clean. Not turn it into a Brother Stare amateur radio station. Or maybe something that would be too. And that said, I listen to some of the stuff on WBCQ sometimes, and I'm just like, okay, just listening to Alan Wiener worldwide. I mean, I listen to it regularly when I can receive it, and he's kind of I mean, there's no filters there when he's talking. It's just crazy, KC Red Dragon, hello there, nice to have you here. Jack Analar got his extra NY8D when 20 words per minute CW was required. The fact that CW is no longer required to be a license is not a problem with me. I welcome the new hams. Yeah, but it's not everybody that's like that. A lot of people, a lot of people. KC Red Dragon, for SSTV, slow scan TV, in Windows, I use MMSSTV. I use MMSSTV, which is really, really good. And it's automatic, so you just set it there. When SSTV gets on, it detects what mode it is, and it works great. Yeah, Steve, MMSSTV. One of the best. Easy to use, works fine. It's really, really good. David Arden says, I've seen that shirt at local Micro Center store. Yeah, I've seen it a couple of places. This shirt is funny because the first time I wore this shirt was in the summertime, and I went downtown Montreal, and I think I had 4 or 5 tourists that looked at me and said, "Oh man, can I take a picture? It's just so your shirt's just so funny." It's like, okay, it's just a shirt. VK2FBAJ from Sydney, Australia. I'm going absolutely well, and I hope you are also. It's pretty cool. David Barcelona, but if I ever did, I'd have no other solution but to go pirate. Absolutely. If I wanted to do a shortwave show, I'd be pirate also. Honestly, I'd be pirate. Yeah, amateur broadcasting. That would be nice. That would be nice. Paul B says, what they don't like about pirate radio is the musicians do not get their fat royalties. True or false? In the pirate radio stuff, we're not that. I think we're far from that thing. And the fact that pirate radio, even if pirate radio plays music, because of it being in a category else, I think we're more into the, well, that's kind of something, that's kind of something that it's just illegal because you could interfere with anybody else. I don't think it has much to do with, getting the royalties of music and stuff like that. That said, every time I post a video of a pirate station, I get flagged by copyright notice all the time. Because they play music all the time, so. But sometimes it takes a long time. I got a copyright notice, a copyright claim Tuesday for a video that I posted 4 years ago, I think. 3 or 4 years ago, What are the grades of amateurs license in Canada? I don't know exactly what are the grades. There's at least 2 or 3 different grades from what I see. and I would need to check it out more. I know there's like a basic one. I know there's a more advanced one, but I don't know exactly how many licenses there are in total in Canada. If anybody can answer that. So, what else too? And the problem, Nicola, with 830 kilohertz is that it's pretty local. Most people don't hear it. What else is there? What else is there? But you know what? An amateur radio broadcast license, that would be pretty neat, honestly. Pretty neat. You know? That would really be pretty neat. So Bobby Burgess is 6955. Let's just try it out here. Anything here? Not even a peep showing up on the display. So not even hearing a little something. And if we look at, let's go to HF Underground and see if anybody's reporting it. We still got the last post is 6300. The last post of 6955 is from 1714 UT. So right now there doesn't seem to be anything posted, but there might be something there. Absolutely. So, oh yeah, it's wireless. It needs to go on top of Big Ben. Wow, I'm far back in the chat. We're talking about the... so nothing for VNA on 6955. Hey, Alvin Chipmunk. Do you think shortwave use will disappear in the future? So Alvin Chipmunk is in Holland. You know what? I think there will always be a use for shortwave. I mean, when we look at... there are transitions. There are things that are still using the shortwave bands. What the future of shortwave, I don't know. If they open it up, if they would do something like I said, open it up to some hams, for example, to do experimental stations and stuff like that, that will maintain it for the future. Now the problem, and I think one of the biggest problems, is too many people abandoned the shortwave hobby because of the interference caused by our electronics. So what's killing our hobby is also an interference where too many people, I didn't have S7 noise 25 years ago. It was much lower than that. And of course, people buy a little portable radio and doesn't understand. People don't understand that a radio gets signals in that cheap Chinese crap power supply that you've got with your router or your whatever device you bought. It makes so much noise that your radio is also picking that up and making it impossible for you to receive. But I believe that in 50 years there's still going to be some shortwave stations on the air. What maintains that is some areas of the world that deeply need to have shortwave. And don't forget that on many aspects in many countries, you've got to put up hundreds of FM stations to cover an area where one shortwave will cover the area. And but I think where it's going to be difficult, and maybe, already we see it here in North America. I mean, anybody that turns on his radio today and that was listening to shortwave 30 years ago will probably notice that, hey, the bands are dead. And there's some stuff, but, it's crazy. It's crazy because I think there will be a change. But there's tons of things that want to use the shortwave bands for all sorts of reasons. I mean, the fact that the shortwave frequencies have a very specific and very unusual way of propagating, thanks to the ionosphere, We'll always make the shortwave bands open to all sorts of types of transmissions that people want to do. But it's something to see. We'll see in 10 or 20 years. If I'm 20, if I'm 70 years old and I'm still making the shortwave show on YouTube or whatever other platform will exist in 20 years, well, you'll know that it still exists. Jack Amlar says WBCQ, an unnamed religious organization, is funding a transmitter steerable antenna for WBCQ side. Will be exclusive use to the religious organization, piggybacking on WBCQ license and using the engineering staff. That's going to be interesting to see. Nothing like 500 kilowatts of Jesus 24 hours a day to make you listen to shortwave. So, I have a lot of difficulty. Bobby Gerges says 7490 is really not that hard to get as QTH. Recently also been catching 5130. In the wintertime, Well, Rich Hill, shortwave stations cannot make money. And we have a great example, a station that came on the air that promised to be so cool, and that was called Global 24. They had their goal was to stay on the air with advertisement. Problem is, you can't understand that, shortwave is not local FM stations. On an FM station, you'll have the ads from, Uncle Bob's used car sales lot. Where on the shortwave bands, if you have Uncle Bob's used car sales lot, you're gonna where is that? Oh yeah, it's in that little city in Arkansas that nobody knows about. The only ones that could maybe do advertising would be big stations. And one of the biggest problems of every shortwave station is the inability to show hard papers of audience. We've got millions of listeners. We've got 100,000 listeners. We've got, how many listeners actually listen to the WBCQ? When I was at the CIDX barbecue, one of the girls that was there was mentioning that she had a show on WBCQ for a certain amount of time. And she had absolutely no emails, no one calling, anything. And she even went to the moment where she said, well, you know what, I'm going to have a show talking about sex. That's going to turn on the guys. And she said no replies, nothing. And she looked at me and she said, I had the impression nobody's listening. And you know what? How many people are listening to WBCQ? When we listen to Alan Wiener, we're 12 people listening to Alan Wiener? How many people are actually listening? And, just look at the calls. How many people are calling WBCQ when Alan Wiener is live? It's always the same guys. I almost called once because I was like, wow, I've been listening to 3 Fridays in a row and it's the same 5 guys. And I thought maybe that'd be cool if I'd call and somebody new, showing that I'm there, So that shows you, look at a local station. I understand that, of course, if you call from far away, you might have long distance charges or whatever, but still. How many people are actually listening? That's a really good question, because we got to understand that there's 2 things also that we don't often look at. But the BBC, for example, has statistics of potential global listeners. But one of the things that local stations, so if you live in a big market like here, we live in Montreal, and we just got the ratings of all the stations that are popular here in Montreal. Well, these are hard numbers that there is 1,100,000 listeners on average at that period of time for that show on that station. We know for a fact. But on shortwave, There's nothing like that. You can say there's 500 million potential listeners. How many are listening in reality? Nobody has a number for that one. Nobody can tell you at any given time that the BBC for Africa has 1 million listeners. You know? How many listeners are in the BBC Africa or the Voice of America Africa outlet? Real numbers. You know? We can't count them. We don't know. There's a lot of things that we got to know also is that don't forget that for one person that's writing in to say, hey, I'm listening, there's probably 10 people that are not writing in any time but are still listening. That's why I always say, you know, if you're listening in, take the time to write. Take the time to send them a letter, an email, whatever. They don't know if you're there if you don't tell them. You know, there's no magic. They don't see you through the radio waves on the other side, you know. And that's also the big problem with shortwave. How many listeners are there really in reality at any given time? You know, when Radio Romania has their broadcast to Eastern North America in the evening, when I listen in, how many other people are listening at the same time? How many? Be curious. I sometimes have the impression there's not a lot. And that is the scary part. Dino Blois, nice to have you here from Miami, Florida, USA. David in Barcelona says some Jean-Michel Jarre on 6292. So that's a pirate station there in Europe. And we're going to tell you guys where to listen to, by the way. Pirate stations. I'm just going to go through the chat and try to, So, a lot of what's happening about shortwave broadcasting is kept alive by hobbyists in general. And the need for information, honestly, the need for just, giving information to target areas where it's very difficult. Very difficult, So, hey guys, going down pretty fast in the chat. So if I miss something, if anybody wants to, if I miss a question or anything, or didn't say hi, please do so. Say hello. The pip is on, isn't that like 3876 or something like that, Nicola? Jackie Lamalar says, amateur radio broadcasting. All you have to do is get the NAB and MPAA on board. Not going to happen. Yeah. That's the problem. There's too much regulations, honestly. Too much regulations. Too much regulations. It's too complicated to get on the air and have something going on, So, it's pretty amazing. What else do we have? What is there? Chris Fraser says, Global 24, remember that train wreck. And, Global 24 is a huge flop. But it was also a huge flop because of a lot of things. Global 24 was, they had tons of emails, like if there were like 25 people working. And at the end, and I remember Glenn Hauser with his World Radio Show, mentioning how basically he had the impression that of the 24 different emails, it was all the same guy behind it. And you know what happened? They thought they could make money, maybe. They had generous offer from WRMI, so they were able to continue on without paying the bills for a while. But I mean, WRMI needs to have cash in order to pay the bills too. And WRMI decided once, okay, well, you're not paying your bills, we're shutting you down. And it shows you that if you want to, be on shortwave, you have to be there because you're a fan and you want to have something on the air because it's just cool, not to make money with it at all. Mr. Henry says, in South America, 95% of the medium wave AM band and shortwave broadcasts are about religion. To be honest, I'm tired of that. Yeah, you know, it's funny that it's really funny that these stations don't actually these stations use shortwave. You know, I was saying that the other day. If you listen to WEWN, 15610, every time there's a listener calling in, I don't hear nobody say, "Oh, I'm listening to you on shortwave 15610 or something." They're always like, "Oh yeah, I'm listening to you to the FM outlet in that city," or whatever. Paul B, so why do people listen to pirate radio if it is illegal and plays the same music as licensed stations? Because they get a kick out of listening to something that is illegal? So, okay, here's the thing. First of all, pirate stations usually have a very unique format that is unseen. That means if you hear music, most of the time, it's stuff you don't hear on the local FM or AM stations at all. Some have very unique programming of all sorts. Some have funny shows, some have all sorts of, everything is open in the pirate band. So it's the uniqueness of the programming, which is often extremely different from any other station you'll hear. It's the fact that you're receiving something, one part of the aspect of having fun on the shortwave hobby, for example, is to listen in to something you've never heard before. I get a kick out of receiving something and that I've never received, and trying to find out where could that be from. So there's that the unknown side of listening to whatever. I honestly, personally, and will say it very clearly, find it extremely cool to listen to a pirate radio station. I like that. I find it cool. I don't really care if it's illegal or not. It's something I enjoy listening to, and I'm sure a lot of you guys in the chat and a lot of you guys that will watch this show will say, I totally enjoy listening to pirate stations also. But it is very different. They don't play the same music as licensed stations. They have very different programming, honestly. And if pirate stations were exactly the same as a local FM outlet, they would not be as popular. They would not have as many listeners. We would not talk as much about it. It's because it's very unique. And there's that unknown side, There's that unknown side to it that we're like, 3575, I don't think I'll hear anything here. It's still daylight out. Still a little more than 2 hours before the sun sets here. So, the Alkins, well, it's probably 7074 for FT8 mode, or 7076 for for JT65. They have a cycle, so you're hearing a lot of signals together with like multiple tones, and then it stops and then it starts again. FT8 on 7074 or JT65 on 7076 upper sideband. Exactly, like MDK2 says, one of the favorite pirates that he has, and it is a nice pirate, Wolverine Radio, has a team. I remember once I was listening in, and the team was about death, and they had music, but not obvious, like not something that talks about death out flat, but within it, when you hear the words, you're like, yeah, it does go with the theme of death or whatever, or anything. It's just great. It is great, and it does have tons of music. One of the things often that I hear is also from pirates, old music that you'll never hear never hear on any radio station, from the jazz era or some old stuff from the 30s, the 40s. It's just cool, you know. David Arden says, we have one station on medium wave in the Atlanta area that plays a variety of music. The college FM stations do a pretty good job too. Yes, that is true. You know, like CKUT, that has the International Radio Report. I mean, if you listen to that in a full day, you have very unusual, you know, I'd say that, you know, college or university stations are maybe what is the closest thing on the FM or AM bands that would resemble a pirate station. That's probably what I would think, you know. So there's very amazing stuff in there. So David says, still waiting for the Global 24's QSL. I wonder if they were in time to send it maybe some 35 years from now. Yeah, you'll be one of those. You know, every now and then we get, hey, Radioactive, nice to have you here. Every now and then we have this, you know, this news item on the newspapers or whatever that says, hey, man, that guy or that girl found a bottle in the ocean or received this letter from her lover and that was sent in 1944. So it's like, maybe that will be your thing. It's like, you'll be 75 and opening the mailbox and saying, hey, I got Global 24 QSL from the year 20, what year was that? 2014, 15? It's been many years now. Yeah, if mailboxes still exist, absolutely. Zach Antle, nice to have you here. Jill, have you ever run into one of those stations run by a crazy conspiracy theorist? Absolutely. You just listen to WWCR's Alex Jones. That's a nut job in itself. But there's a lot of stuff, and even on WBCQ there's some conspiracy theory type shows. So, you know, it's just kind of interesting. But, you know, there's a lot of stuff that is there that's just, you know, crazy and amazing. And, you know, there's conspiracy stuff, but we gotta also think that there's a side to that is trying to make us also reflect upon possibilities of something. We all know that our governments are not 100% trustable, and we know that anything can happen, and but we have to have an open mind and also be intelligent about it. You know, I mean, just crazy. What else do we have? Cuban Lady on 16180 before we continue on the pirate stuff. Yeah, I'm hearing it. It's there. It's not that strong, but it's there. It's 16180. I'm just gonna zoom out a little bit here. Here we go. So pirate, the HM01 Cuban numbers. What else do we have? Chris Lodell, nice to have you here. Yeah, E-Man Radio. I think it's E-Man Radio. Yeah, some nice jazz and nice old stuff. Absolutely. Hey, Eric Cottrell, nice to have you here. SWL60N, hey there, nice to have you here. 3830 Radio Man, hey there. Nice to have you on board. It's pretty cool to have all of you here, by the way. And we'll, of course, be checking out pirate stations tonight. And if you guys noticed, it's sad that the screen is actually blocking part of it, but the pirate flag is back on the wall to be there all the time. So we'll be checking out pirate stations. 3756, yeah. Is one of the PIP frequencies. Chicken gumbo and Coke for him. Yeah, Bobby. You're making me hungry now. And it's still early. I should not be hungry. I ate like a pig at the restaurant for lunch today. Absolutely, I'm pretty sure David, hams that get QSLs, and there's so many things also. I remember when I moved from where I lived when I was young, because I was really, really doing a lot of QSLing back in my teenage years, and I moved on, and I remember that my brother and my sister-in-law lived next door to where I used to live when I was young. And one of the funny things about it is that my sister-in-law was talking to that neighbor that was living where I lived when I was young. And one day that she was mentioning, I get these weird letters from, around the world in my mailbox to a guy named Gilles. And she said, that's my brother-in-law. I said, yeah. And I mean, I moved out of there in 1989. And I remember in 2001, 2002, she was still receiving Radio Cairo schedules and all sorts of things from different stations that had never changed my. And I remember I wrote to all of these stations saying, hey, I've moved. I got a new address now. You gotta, if you want to send stuff, send it to this new postal address. And they would not do it. There's I don't know why. There's not a misunderstanding of this. And she would still, 10 years after, receive letters from all around the world. And she was amazed at the fact that, wow, what did your brother-in-law do to get all these letters from everywhere around the world? And it's just crazy. I wouldn't be surprised that some station somewhere or something is still being received there. I can tell you that. It's just crazy, Yeah, as Eric Cottrell says, could be forgotten in the QSL Bureau also. Absolutely. SWL60N. I live in a flat on 4th floor and would like to have a shortwave antenna on the balcony. What should I go for? You know what? You can try very simple things first, like do some kind of little wire antenna just on the borders of your balcony, for example. I remember listening for a while on just a piece of wire going around the balcony. Loop antennas are probably the best choice for that thing, if you can get yourself a loop antenna. Magnetic loops are probably the best choice for a balcony type setup, because it would make could be able to reduce your noise. You can try maybe a vertical antenna, things like that. David Green says, just an update on the weird 11 meter thing. Heard calls from Puerto Rico and Panama City. Absolutely. By the way, David Green, if you listen to 27555 upper sideband, it's the main calling frequency for the out of banders on the 11 meters. And usually what they do is they go on 27555, send a call, and we'll set up what other frequency they are going to move to have their contacts. And you'll hear a lot of stuff there. I can tell you that. Chris Loda says there was a contest on 10 meters today. Heard a guy from Guadeloupe. Yeah, well, the contest is on all amateur bands, by the way, Chris. It's a major amateur radio contest that's going on all weekend. So every amateur band, except the work bands, are full of contesters. But it's funny because that's always the time when you hear these bands that you always think that they're closed, that honestly are not. They're actually open, So we have David Harden that says once used a metal slinky antenna out the window and worked great. So you never know. There's also the receiving loop. Yep. There's there's a lot of stuff that's possible. Just need to check it out. Zach Antle says, I'm always looking at suburbs and things in Canada, and they look identical to ours, but still nicer somehow. when you start going through different cities and different areas around the world, you kind of notice that, for the most part, everybody has the same type of neighborhoods and the same types of, it's not that different from a place to the other, except the fact that, some places don't have snow or whatever, but, it's and you gotta be looking also, always looks, I don't know why. Sometimes always looks nicer in the neighbor's yard, as they say. But, hey. Richard Cook's receiving WWV on 15,000. KC Red Dragons got the nut job 7,200 kilohertz amateur frequency. Oh man, radioactive, don't tell me that. Cheesy bacon pretzel. Man. Yeah, Rick, absolutely. It's just crazy, I think the mailing lists die when they change their computer system or something. I don't know. But it was just so crazy when you think about it, It's like, wow. They're receiving stuff that, I haven't written in 15 years, and she's getting a letter. Weighted Cube, nice to have you here. So, how can you find pirate stations? It's not a stupid question. It is actually a great question for this show right now. And it is a great question because where do you and how do you find pirate stations? So we'll talk about the different bands. Okay, let's go through like medium wave or AM band and FM band. Of course, you'll find pirate stations how? By starting to tune from one end to the other of the band and see if you hear something that is out of the ordinary or you don't know about. And you, with some listening time, might find that there's an FM pirate near you. Here in Montreal, I've never, and that's funny because I look, for example, in New York. New York City has tons of FM pirates. And here in Montreal, I've never heard an FM pirate. And I kind of think there must be some FM pirates in Montreal. There must be someone somewhere broadcasting a pirate station. I've never heard one. But then again, I do not tune the FM band that often. And maybe that's why I've never heard one. For the shortwave bands, there's kind of a unofficial, knowledge of certain places on the shortwave bands where you'll listen to. So if you're in Europe, for example, 6200 up to 6300 kilohertz. So 6200 to 6300, 6400. Very often there's some pirate stations in there, and the Europe region. And in North America, 6850 all the way up to 7000 might also be one of the places where you'll hear something. So I'm looking here, I don't see anything special in there right now. So 6850 to 7000 kilohertz is another frequency range to listen to in North America. But it's not the only place, and pirate stations can appear everywhere. For example, right now the solar activity is very low, so the maximum usable frequency is often very low. And basically what happens is some of them have been moving on other frequencies. So we had one for a while, for example, on, I think it was 5200 kilohertz, 5205, something like that. There was another one that there's a few times that we hear pirate stations that are, wow, look at that interference that suddenly appeared here, that are on 4 megahertz, 4060, 4070, around there, 4050. There have been some appearing everywhere. The idea with the pirate station is that they can appear almost anywhere. 90% of all the stations will be in the two frequency ranges that I just gave you on shortwave. 6200 to 6400 in Europe, 6850 to 7000 kilohertz in North America. That is 90% of the pirates. The 10% that's left are going to be scattered at different places. Like in Europe, there's some pirates sometimes that appear in the upper part of the 80 meter band, 3,900 to 4,000 kilohertz in that area. And like I said, there's a few frequencies. Some pirates actually use very high frequencies. About 3 or 4 months ago, I remember hearing, which was Cupid Radio Pirate, which is a pirate station in the Netherlands, and it was on 15070. So over years of listening and expertise of listening, I've noticed that there are a few that come back. So if I want to see if there's a pirate on the higher frequencies, one of the frequencies I'll go to is 15070, and I'll look at 15070. Is there something there? Because it's one of those frequencies that now I know it's possible. Also, you can have the help of the internet, which is very nice, Paul. And there's there's a thing called HF Underground, which is a great website for pirate radio activity. hfunderground.com. If somebody can share it in the chat room, would be very nice. If you go there, you will see that there's shortwave pirates for North America and European loggings. And so, for example, if I click North America here, you'll see the latest posts, and there's a lot of people posting. So the last post that there's here comes from, I'm just going to refresh and make sure, 1932 UTC, a Channel Z pirate on 6300. So you got some here. Now, it's a little early here in North America for pirates. I expect to have more later in the evening. If we look at European pirates, let's see if there's any loggings showing up here for the Europe pirates. Anything showing up? So, nothing since yesterday, March 23rd. So you see here, there's nothing since yesterday posted there. For some reason, the shortwave pirates in North America logs seem to be more active than the ones on the European side. Also, you got to think about moments where pirates are more active. There are moments where pirate radio activity is much more prevalent. So, when weekends, first of all, and they don't take this for, okay, I only listen on weekends. Pirate stations can appear anytime. I've heard pirates probably every day of the week. But, and if you turn on your radio and are curious about pirate activity, go to these frequency ranges or go to the website and look, maybe somebody's posting information about some pirates showing up. But Friday, Saturday, Sunday is going to be more activity in general. Probably because a lot of pirates are actually working and or go to school or whatever, depending on who they are. Hey, Driver Film Shortwave, nice to have you here. And basically, what happens is that the weekends are the best time. There's going to be more activity in general. Holidays are a great time. Christmas, Easter's coming up next week. Halloween was a great time. Halloween is maybe one of the best times, actually. So anytime there's a holiday in the weekend, more activity. Very often more activity. And there are some times that are also more interesting in that part. So for example, next weekend, okay, March 30th, 31st, and April 1st, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, is the Global HF Pirate Weekend. It happens from time to time. It comes back from time to time. That weekend is probably going to be very active. The Global HF Pirate Weekend is meant to promote and have pirates from all over the world broadcast on whatever frequency, and that's where you might hear not just the regular pirates participating. You might hear the ones that participate or are there only once a year. Some pirates are there once a year for one broadcast, and that's it. You never hear them the rest of the year. Others are regulars. Some are several weeks in a row. One that comes out of the lot is whatever, Radio Free Whatever. I remember last summer, I think I heard them 6 or 7 consecutive Saturday nights. Some have a really big string of listening, of being on the air for a while, then whoops, they disappear and don't hear them for another time. Some pirates, I suspect, are multiple pirates, meaning there are some pirates that probably have 2 or 3 different stations, but they're the same pirate in reality. There's, of course, there's a relay service. There could be some pirates that use a relay service and be on the air. So, for example, European pirates sometimes use a North American relay service to get their pirate station on the air in North America. You gotta also remember that pirate stations, for the most part, are weak compared to whatever other broadcast you're listening to. They don't have that much power. There's exceptions to the rule. Wolverine Radio we talked about. That's one of the powerful pirates. That one is amazing. When it's on the air, it's usually heard across North America and in Europe almost easily. So that one has much more power than any others. But in general, they are weaker. And that's pretty much what I have to say about when and how and, to listen to. Jenny Williamson, and please, if you have other questions like that, they are not dumb questions at all. They are actually really good questions because, I like to have my channel is welcoming all the new and the newbies out there that don't know what it is about and, where to listen to and what to do and what's pirate radio. I'm here for that. That's why this exists. I want to have everybody feel welcome with whatever question. And we all have been there. And everybody in the chat room going to tell you, we've all been there. That moment where we don't know about anything. I started listening to shortwave with this thing. I had no idea what was shortwave at all. When you don't know, you don't know. It's mostly that, It's mostly that, honestly. So David Arden is really hearing some chatter on 27555. But if you listen regularly to 27555, you'll hear a lot of stations logging in. So speaking of snow, are you having the same blizzard we are? Zach Antle. Here it's beautiful sunny day. We haven't had snow for a little while now here. Eric Cottrell seems to be more brick houses in Montreal. Well, maybe. I don't know. I don't really know, but maybe. Maybe it's because of the weather. I don't know. Maybe. Everything is brick here. Absolutely, you're right. So, what else do we have? How do you find pirate stations? Wave your pirate flag. So yeah, most of finding pirate stations is listening in and tuning around, and you find them. Today it's fun because we have the internet to help us out with these websites like HF Underground. But for a long time, my way of finding a pirate was I was simply tuning around and suddenly would hear something on a frequency where, I listened so much to the bands at some point that when something was on a frequency, I either knew what it was or it was like, okay, I never heard something at this time on that frequency. And so like 15070, for example, was one of the frequencies one day I was tuning, I'm moving up from like 15 megahertz time signal, WWV, slowly moving up the frequencies, and then I hear something, I hear music on 15070. And now I'm intrigued because I'm like, there's no one on 15070, years ago, some of you might remember, BBC World Service was on 15070. That was one of the frequencies that was a very regular one here in North America. But after the BBC moved off of that frequency, there was nothing there. There was no other broadcast there. And when I heard music, I was intrigued. I was like, there's some music. Somebody's on the band. And I started listening. And I remember the first time I heard 15070. I do remember listening to Cupid Radio. It was Cupid Radio was the first pirate, I think. And we're talking early 2000s, maybe 2003, 2004. Shows you guys that Cupid Radio have been doing it for a long time. And I would hear other ones. I remember one called, I think it was Black Arrow, Pirate. There was another one, and I'm trying to remember the name of the pirate station. It was a guy named Alfred that had that, and that guy actually died a few years ago. And it was cool because back then I was on MSN Messenger, and because I was a regular listener and sending in things, at some point I had all of these pirate stations in my MSN Messenger. So they would actually, send me a little message saying, "Hey, I'm going to turn on the transmitter and be on the air in 30 minutes. Can you just let me know if you hear me in Montreal?" And I had all of these pirates in my MSN Messenger. It was kind of cool. And I mean, the last time I heard Cupid, I sent him an email and said, "Hey, how are you doing, my friend?" And I mean, he replied back with a huge message. It was like, "Oh my God, how are you, Gilles? It's been such a long time that we haven't had, the contact together, and it's been such a long time. And I mean, learning more about, who he is, and now he's married, he's got children, and whatever, It's like, wow, man, it's been such a long time since we've spoken to each other." And it was kind of cool, and there's a cool side also to, like, well, hey, I'll know when pirate stations are there, because, they are, they're on my list of contacts. And it's kind of nice, And, but I remember Alfred. I had actually a video call with Alfred. He wanted to see and hear the reception here. And we had a Skype video call. Because I had my first webcam back in 2003 or 4 or something. And I mean, we had that video call for maybe an hour. We were talking and having fun, and he was listening in. He could hear by himself what it sounded like here in Montreal. And he showed me the transmitter. The transmitter was in a closet. He opened the door of the closet, and it was like a rack with a transmitter and everything, and tape decks and everything needed to just do a broadcast. That's actually very, very cool. I remember looking at that. I was like, wow, this is so cool. And, it's kind of nice. It's kind of nice. Erica Charles says, yeah, Boston area. I remember reading a few articles about FM pirates in the Boston area. Absolutely. So, I've never heard of pirate here in Montreal, which is kind of interesting. I can tell you that. Hey, Ralph Bender, nice to have you here. Pretty, Driver Film Shortwave, sometimes you have these cheap pirate things, and we're like, yeah, let's just try it, I won't lose a lot of money, and you're like, yeah, okay, that's a piece of crap. Bobby Burgess says, the HF Underground chat is silent. Yeah, it's that kind of period of the day where pirates are not necessarily that much of a no, this is not what I wanted to do. They're not active. They're going to be active later today, probably in the evening. Hey guys, just out of the blue, if you guys enjoy what I do, why not think about a donation? It's been helping me out tremendously, and it is something that I keep to upgrade my systems and make sure that we can continue doing this for the years to come. So if you've never donated, I'm kind of trying to get to the ones that have never donated. PayPal.me/shortwave, or the Yahoo email that you see here, same thing, if you have a PayPal account. Any amount helps, from, even if it's $1, any amount is great. And of course, you can become a patron at patreon.com/radio and computers, where you can join 9 patrons that are giving me a little something every month. And just be careful how you set it up. it's a little tricky, and there's been a few guys that have been kind of surprised at what happened because it was not set up right. And don't worry, if you send me too much, I'll send it back to you. So why not think about it? If you enjoy the shows that I do, I take a lot of time doing these. I mean, I'm here every week doing these shows and having fun, of course, but it's kind of helps out, basically. So why not think about it, guys? And thanks for those that have donated. Got a few donations yesterday. Why not send me a few donations today, guys? Okay, we have Chris Lodell that says Pirate Laser Hits. Yeah, it's Laser Hot Hits or something like that, 6205 from Europe. I actually hear that one sometimes, even here in North America, which is amazing. 741, hey there, nice to have you here. Weighted Cube says, here in London, pirates on FM are quite common. I even dabbled in it myself. It's mostly to the tall console estate buildings, which pirates can use. Maybe that's the case in New York. I don't know. Kind of interesting. 741, never heard any FM pirates in Northeast Connecticut. Seems to be much more of a big city thing. Hey, PLF Radio. Nice to have you here, PLF Radio. In France, bienvenue. Oh, really? JD Williamson says there is now a legal way to broadcast in the AM here in Holland as an amateur station. Oh, that's interesting. MDK2 says, I've never heard FM pirates in Denver, but some in nearby Boulder County were recently busted. Huh, interesting. Interesting. Really nice. David Arden used to listen to Radio Caroline when I was in England in the 1980s. Loved it. Hey, Radio Hobbyist. Nice to have you here. Pretty cool. Nick Amendot in Romania is receiving 6205, which is Laser Hot Hits. Carl Tench, hey there, nice to have you on board. Yeah, life gets busy sometimes, eh? I know what you mean, can tell you that. So no problem, Paul. I'm happy to answer the questions. McGlone, hey, nice to have you here. And I don't take naps in the afternoon or any time in the day. I get kind of so weird after that. If I take a nap like at 2 p.m., I wake up and I have the impression I'm on another world or something. Just crazy. Does snow help propagation? It doesn't really affect propagation in general. Snow or even weather in general. Some people ask sometimes, oh, does weather affect propagation? For the shortwave bands, and let's be very clear, I'm talking about shortwave here. No, that usually doesn't affect anything except thunderstorm will do static crashes on the radio. But yes, weather patterns and weather can affect high frequencies, VHF, UHF ranges, with all sorts of propagation phenomena like temperature inversions can kind of trap signals in the VHF range, and suddenly you hear stations that you never hear from like 200 kilometers away. But in general, snow, stuff like that, doesn't affect anything. Carl Tench is asking if anyone find any good number stations recently. Yeah, J.D. Williamson says that most pirate stations here play music and he doesn't like it. Unfortunately, there are some pirate stations that concentrate on playing only music. I had someone once send me an email saying, don't you think that pirate stations back 20 years ago were more inventive and more had more initiative and doing very original programming? And I don't know what to say to that. Yeah, maybe. I can't say yes definitely, but it is fun when a pirate station does something that is very original or everything, and original programming, not just music, So for those that are listening, 15370, it's Radio Havana, Cuba. Radio Havana, Cuba, 15370. Let's go back to 6900 and see if any pirates could be in the band. I'll actually expand a little bit here. Let's see if I can Here, 69 to 7,000 is right here. And if we hear or if we see something appear in there, we'll be able to check out what pirate station it could be. Rough McLeod says 15,370, quite strong in Nova Scotia. Calvin, nice to have you here. Well, talking about pirates. Nice to have you here, Calvin, as always. Pilaf Radio Jill, do you think that the next A18 schedules there will be shortwave broadcasts getting off the air? You know what? As of yet, what we see from the new A18, and don't forget, guys, in a few hours from now, we are getting into the A18 schedule season. So, at 0-100 hours UTC today, when we reach 0-100 hours, it's 21:35 right now. We will be in the A18 schedule seasons. That means stations will be on their new summertime frequencies for North America, for the or Northern Hemisphere, and of course the wintertime frequencies for the Southern Hemisphere. So remember, if you don't hear your station on their usual frequency you're used to, maybe it's because it's moved. Watching train wrecks, hey there. So as of now, we haven't seen any loss of stations on A18. From what we see, every station that was on the bands in the B17 schedules, the winter schedules, are continuing into A18. Good news, because a schedule change is always that period of time we're a little scared. You know, when is there some stations going to just move out or something? Got to think about that. It's always a scary time, but right now doesn't seem like. So well, great subject, by the way. 741 says got a few QSL cards from pirates back in 90s. Pirate stations are one of those stations that very often QSL. Back in the 80s, 90s, we were receiving QSLs by mail. Most of them now have moved on to QSLs that are EQSLs, so through email, of course, because it's easier. But I don't know if I still have it. I'm just going to check it out, guys, if I still got it close. But there were some cool things in the 80s. And let me just check out if I've got one that I can show you quickly. I had so many cool things from these stations back then. Unfortunately, I can't find them at all. But I got some really cool stuff from many pirate stations back in the 90s and early 2000s. Man, I would have loved to show you guys some of the things I've got. I'm just going to check it out here. If by any chance it's not just hidden by the stuff that I've got everywhere. But, and it's not. So I'm sorry about that, guys. But there's so many things that I got that were so cool back then. CDs of shows that were broadcast. All sorts of cool stuff. Some of them had obviously more money than others because they really had a lot of things that they actually wanted to send us. Oh, here's one. I found one. Look at that, guys. Undercover Radio. Look at that. 2006 New Year show. Look at that. I've got the New Year show from 2006 from Undercover Radio. And it's really the full show from that time, and I should actually pop in that CD at some point and listen to it because that was amazing. So these are some of the things that I received from pirate stations, and of course with it was a QSL letter and everything that's in my QSL books. Pretty cool. So another aspect of pirate radio stations is that you can actually QSL them. You can actually most of the time they give out an email, you'll receive an EQSL. So it's kind of a verification, and it's nice to write to the pirate stations also because they lets them know that people are listening in, which is always kind of cool. And I mean, any pirate station likes to know that somebody is listening at the other end, you know. Email, and sometimes you'll have your name, you know, on the air live as things are happening. Also, that's pretty cool. Also, so you know, it's always kind of nice to have all of that, you know. David Arden, thank you very much, and it is nice, and there's really nice camaraderie, absolutely here, for sure. Well, you know, watching train wrecks, it's because it's simply radio spectrum, and you know, like every frequency range needs to be regulated somehow. Shortwave is part of, you know, what's considered to be an area of frequency where you need to license yourself to broadcast. You know, it's the way it is, and it's the way that governments try to regulate what is also being said. You know, let's not forget that there's also a side to having licensing on the frequency ranges. That side is the fact that it also helps control what is going to be said on the airwaves. It's a way of controlling, you know, information a little bit also, as well as, you know, making sure there's no chaos and everybody just, you know, the free for all basically side to it. iMapper, hey there, nice to have you here. Nice to have you here from Moscow. David says, same exact feeling. I've got those few times that I've fallen asleep during the day due to tiredness. I wake up and don't know where I am, and everything just feels weird. Hate that. Yeah, it's crazy. I feel totally weird after I do a nap. Just Simon, nice to have you here. Have you ever heard of pirate stations ever getting shut down or fired by the FCC? Tons of them. 2 weeks ago, but the shortwave ones, it rarely happens. Very rarely happens. Okay? The FM ones, almost every month I see a story here and there in some of the radio outlets, like the Spectrum Monitor magazine, for example, where there's been a pirate's fine for using, you know, illegal use of the airwaves and stuff like that. It happens quite regularly. That said, because of the lack of anybody working really at the FCC, there's like, you know, not a lot of people there. There's not a lot of this happening, but yes, absolutely. You know, it happens regularly. The ones on shortwave, from time to time, you know, we've seen some. It's been a long time I haven't seen one from the shortwave bands being busted. But the FM ones, the ones that are local, it happens quite regularly. And like I said at the beginning of the show, most of the times when that happens, it's because somebody complained. Almost always somebody complained. When we find the station schedules. AOK, EIBI. My favorite is EIBI, but honestly, for a few weeks, what we know is EIBI will probably be out of date, and almost every shortwave frequency list will be out of date. So what I do, if you want to see the latest schedules, if you're not sure, and I talked about it yesterday, it's go to hfcc.org, and over there, hfcc.org, you will have public data files. You have interactive schedules if you want, or schedules by reason, and so on, or files in standard format. And here you can find the operating schedules for the latest 818 schedules. So just, you know, click for the latest schedules for 818. And here we go. On the top, there's 818 by organizations. And there's a file there that's interesting, which is A18allx2.zip, which has text files of all the registered schedules. That is probably what is the best bet for schedules until the different lists like EIBI gets updated. So yeah, in Europe, guys, absolutely, that's true. You guys in Europe are moving your clocks ahead tonight. We did so 2 weeks ago here. So you guys are moving ahead. That means more daylight in the evening. So, you know. Must be up early to go to a radio rally. Oh, that's cool. That's kind of cool. But yeah, there have been some lately in the International Radio Report. 2 weeks ago, we talked about a pirate that got busted for broadcasting like on 2 or 3 frequencies at the same time. So, you know. Yeah, it is cool to have. I can tell you that. Nice souvenir. That CD is a nice souvenir. And I've got the QSL letter. I remember it's a QSL letter. It's really, really cool. So hfcc.org is nice for... but right now, what is complicated is we'll be in that little period of time that will be lost a little bit. So, you know, because they need to update. You know, EIBI typically will take a couple of weeks before the schedules are all done. And you know what? What I think we should do next week when I do my show, or in 1 week or 2 weeks, when the new schedules are out, I'll do another round of donations where I'll give half of the donations to the guy making the lists for EIBI, because I mean, it's a tremendous amount of work, and I mean, without people like that always do it, we would have no schedules. It's very important, no schedules. So you know, it's something you got to think about. You know, it's easy today. You go on the internet, it's like, oh, all the schedules are here. Oh, look at that. There's a nice list of schedules on eibispace.de. Yeah, but think further. Somebody took the time to make a list of all the shortwave broadcasts in every language and everything and put it online. And that is a tremendous amount of work. And we never got to have to forget that. Always think about it. You like what you see on the internet? I want to say one thing. Somebody out there worked to put it there. And it's easy to just look at a list or whatever and say, oh, well, you know, look at that. I got everything I need. Yeah, someone worked hard to do that. Never forget, you know, Glenn Hauser's Roller Radio doesn't happen just by, you know, it's just, you know, not happening by magic. Glenn Hauser works hard to have his 30-minute show doing every week, and his DX Listening Digest, you know, great thing. So I can tell you that. So never think that something happens, you know, just for the fun of it. Just look at a very simple thing. You know, we were talking about pirate radio, and you go to this website, which is, you know, the HF Underground. I mean, first of all, think about it. Somebody is actually taking the time to maintain a website, which is the HF Underground for pirate stuff. Plus, all of these people they're posting it because they're radio fanatics. And they want to make sure that everybody knows something is there. You know, it's like I do these things here. Don't forget about one thing. You know, it's easy. I get these emails all the time is, why don't you do a show every day or every... Yeah, it's easy to say. You're not the one sitting here and blabbing for 3 or 4 hours doing a show. Anybody try it. You're going to see that even though I'm a blabbermouth naturally, I mean, I can tell you one thing. When I turn off the show, when I decide it's over, part of me is tired. I get tired because it's something that is high energy and you got to do stuff and you got to talk all the time. I can't just sit here and it's like, hey, I'm going to look at the chat and who cares? Look at me. No, you're here to entertain and you're here to do something. And people think for granted that, you work hard to do something. It's not happening like that. I take the time to do 3 hours. I try not to do, if you guys notice, I always try never to do most of the time below a 3 hour period of time. I can tell you one thing, 3 hours is a long period of time. It usually passes really fast, but it will happen a show here or there where I will be, okay, we're at 2 hours and I'm starting to not really know what I'm going to say or talk about. Or it will happen one day that I'll be here and do a 3 hour show and I don't have the drive for it. It doesn't happen often. But like everybody, everybody has that day that, I don't want to go to work today. I have that period where I just sit down and it's like, oh man, I wish there were no like shows today. I don't feel like it, It's the same thing. I'm sure that guy that makes the list, the IBI, I could say to hell with it, this is super complicated and I'm taking a lot of time to do a shortwave frequency list. The hell with it, and never forget that you're just getting that for free. But somebody is working hard to have it online for you. Don't forget that. Radio Romania 6170, according to Richard Cook, usually very strong. PLF Radio. PLF Radio says, I just lost my space in the chat here. Okay, so PLF Radio says no official international organization doing shortwave schedules. Here's the thing. HFCC, which is the High Frequency Coordination Committee, is a non-profit organization that is there with the ITU, the International Telecommunications Union. And what happens is they are there to have a side of, like try to prevent interference. So what happens is that stations, for example, that are on the that are on shortwave, will submit their frequency lists because it will be compared to other stations around the world that have their frequencies to make sure there's no clash. So if you guys ever wondered why it doesn't happen that often that two stations clash together on frequencies, is because there's a organization that is overseeing the information, the HFCC. There are a few rogue countries that are not participating. For example, Cuba. Radio Vanet Cuba does not participate in the HFCC list. And what happens? Quite regularly, Radio Vanet Cuba just decides it uses this frequency and clashes with another broadcast. I still remember a few years off I was pissed off at Radio Vanet Cuba because one of the frequencies of All India Radio, 11670, was really amazingly good here. And Cuba decided from one day to the next, we'll put a 24-hour Spanish Cuba there. And it totally washed out All India Radio. I could not hear it anymore. All I heard was Spanish from Cuba with something underneath that I knew was All India Radio. But apart from a few states, North Korea, for example, does not participate to this also. Most countries around the world, most broadcasters, international broadcasters, will submit their frequencies. And if there's a clash, they'll be told, well, that station already chose that frequency. What other frequency you want to use? Because you'll be clashing together. And that is what's happening. So, David Green, have a great show idea. Upper sideband. I've been poking around blank areas of the spectrum in upper sideband, and I've heard all kinds of stuff. It's fun. It's not just amateur and weather either. There's a lot of stuff in there. And you know what? We'll call it I don't want to call it just upper sideband. I think we can call it single sideband for upper and lower sideband stuff. So you know what? In the next couple of weeks, we'll do one of those. What's single sideband? And everything that you can hear in the single sideband mode. So, of course, those that have these radios that are AM only, you'll kind of understand why sometimes it's kind of cool to have something that is a little more, which is single sideband. So, thanks for the suggestions. And anybody, by the way, that has two things I want to talk about: suggestions for, any ideas for a show. Let me know. I'm always open to ideas. I always like having ideas. I sometimes run out of ideas. I sometimes get on the air and have absolutely nothing. I'll answer questions, things like that. It's just crazy sometimes, But it's it's fun to have ideas. So you guys have any ideas, you can also send them through official shortwaveradio@gmail.com. You have a YouTube channel that's related to radio of any kind. As long as its majority of videos are radio related, you want me to talk about it? I'm here to help out. If I can use my channel to promote and make your channel a little bigger, a little better, have more people viewing, send me the link. Say, hey, I got a radio channel. I'd like you to take a look at it. As long as the majority of videos are radio related, I'll be happy to talk about it. McGlone says Florida wants to have year-long daylight savings times. I like that, actually. Except that the only thing it would cause here is that in December, if we would keep daylight saving time, in December the sun would rise in the morning around 9 a.m. So pretty much everybody would go to work in the darkness. But apart from that, it's I think it's a good idea. Let's just stay on daylight savings times all the time. I would agree with that here too. And in the winter time, instead of the sun setting at 4:05 p.m. here, late afternoon, it would set at 5. At least it's an hour later. It's a little better, With regular time, the sun sets at 4 p.m. in December here. It's like, it's 5 o'clock. It's like, wow, it's dark outside. It's like boring. It's crazy. Mr. Henry says, yep, sure, it's a lot of work. Absolutely, it's a lot of work. Rubber Films, it takes time to shoot a video, upload video too. Absolutely. Mario DX, just put the webcam on DX the cat and that's it. Lots more views. You know what? I can tell you one thing. I was thinking one day of, just for the fun of it, creating a separate channel called Paul the Cat. And just having the video film whatever Paul is doing, It's just, sometimes, Lehigh for you says, I know I could never do 3-hour show or even an hour. I had somebody to send me an email, about maybe 6 months ago, and the first thing that he said is, okay, first I gotta say that I am amazed at what you do on your live shows. I would talk 5 minutes and not even know what to talk about. You talk for 4 hours and I'm still interested and I still want to continue listening. And he said, I think it takes a specific skill to be able to talk for such a long time. But there's a mix of all sorts of things in here, because I rely on two things when I do live shows, by the way. One is, of course, I will prepare some stuff and some things to talk about. But also I will rely on the chat room, because the chat room almost always have questions. So part of my show, I know I'll fill up with answers to the questions for the chat room. Part of my show, I might actually fill up with answers to questions that I have through email. And part of the show will be my own content that I want to talk about and share with everybody. So, it's something you gotta I remember the first show that I did, and some of you were there back then. I was terrified. It was like, man, I'm going to be on the air. People are going to watch, going to look at me. And I was like, wow. And I remember being nervous the first time. I was like, wow, I'm going to do something. Now it's like natural. For me, it's like, I sing a lot of the songs at karaoke, and people tell me sometimes, aren't you stressed out, when they call your name and it's your turn? It's like, yeah, I used to, but I'm not anymore. And it's the same here. People tell me sometimes, are you nervous just before you flick that on switch for streaming? And it's like, no, I'm not. I'm not anymore. I'm not anymore because I'm in my element, and I'm well doing it. I feel okay doing it. There's like no more surprises, really, honestly. So it goes with the flow, and you get to know the people, and you see the same people all the time. You get the occasional idiot that shows up, that thanks to some great moderators out there, they just get and disappear quite rapidly. And talking moderators, you know what? Let's XNADXer Keegan. You've earned my trust over time. You are now a moderator. How about that? Okay, what else do we have? It's something, but I'm a blabbermouth. I'm the guy in the bar that if nobody talks, I'll be the guy talking to someone. Even if I don't know you, I'll find a little something we have in common that I'll be talking to you all night. And it's been a big part of my life, and why a lot of things I did was kind of easier. I always find that little thing that I can talk about. A great example is a couple of weeks back. I went to a bar with a couple of friends, and they left early, and I was kind of in the mood of I don't want to go home. I want to, I was listening to, there was a jukebox there. I put some cash in and listen to some music, and I was like, I don't want to go home. I don't feel like it, and also, at the same time, I'm very social, but I don't care being alone. Also, at the same time, so I had my smartphone, started looking at stuff, and to my left there was a couple of guys talking about something, and I heard a conversation, and they had a funny comment about something once, and I kind of just add a little funny comment to add to their comments, and in the space of 2 minutes, it was like if we were good friends and we knew each other for forever, and we started talking, and they even paid me a beer. I was like, okay, and I'm that kind of guy, the guy that's just happy, what do you call it, happy-go-lucky. It's like I just have fun, and of course I know how to do those things. So if I talk to you in a bar, I know if you want me to back off or not. I'm not gonna start talking to you if you look like someone that's just like, okay, who's that guy talking to me? Who's that strange man talking to me right now? So yeah, single side band show will be cool. David Arden says, I'm having one of those days myself. Yeah, it happens. It happens. You can't always think that it's, that it's easy to get on the air and just be there and be happy. It's like, I remember one show, somebody in the chat room I was just setting up, and in the first 30 seconds of the on, one guy put a comment that's like, you look pissed off. And I said, well, okay, I'll be fair. It's not because of the live show. It's because something happened before the show. And yes, I am pissed off, and I'm sorry if it shows, I try not to show anything, but it's like, it's like the news anchor on TV. If she would be pissed off at her day, and she'd show it while talking about, the giving out the news or something. Okay. What else do we have? The Drifter UK. Hello there, M3CSP. David says, speaking of CRI, don't know if you know that, but seems that there'll be changes. Interesting. Let's check it out. And I have something to read, by the way. I don't want to forget about it. So there are going to be some changes. Let's check that out here. China consolidates 3 national networks to form the Voice of China. Oh yeah, I did see that. They're actually going to do like something called Voice of China to try to give Chinese propaganda to the world, basically. Hey, I want to read something that was sent to me by Mad Radio DXer, and it's a nice little article here that I'm going to read. It's very nice. So it says that the pirate radio scene here in the UK, and particularly London, is unique compared to other parts of the world. UK pirates were brought about because legal stations such as the BBC did not play all the music popular with the youth at the time. This is the reason why offshore or out at sea pirate stations like Radio Caroline started off in the mid-60s and gained a lot of popularity. In the 70s, once the UK offshore pirates were hunted down by the British government, these stations turned to onshore or on land. The favorite places for these pirates were tower blocks or high-rise buildings, as they could put the antenna on the roof and for maximum coverage. These stations expanded more the music styles still not heard on legal stations, such as reggae and soul. Some of these stations eventually got licenses so they could become legal stations. This included a Greek community station in London that was said to be rated and live on the air back in the pirate days. Also, a lot of presenters of pirate stations got to work on legal stations, including the BBC. My experience of pirate stations first happened in London in early 90s when underground dance music was at its most popular. I remember during the weekends the FM band was jam-packed and there was never any free airspace. Some of these pirates even interfered with legal stations. I made some recordings back then and still have them, or I go looking for other people's recordings of that era on YouTube, as it takes me back to when I would listen to my Sanyo boombox. I remember the mid-90s when only a couple of London pirates were on the air, most likely because of the DTI, FCC equivalent in the UK, tracked down a lot of them. But that would not last long, as in the late 90s, they came back and were doing better than ever. I have not been to London for a number of years, but I have read on web forums that the current scene is overloaded and the FM band as packed as ever. Even on the news, there was a story about a pirate station that was directly on the same frequencies as a legal station, blocking them completely. This problem, in my view, is how cheap and easy it is to obtain the necessary equipment, particularly on the internet. I read from someone that one pirate stations in London had more than one transmitter relay and broadcasts on 2 frequencies. Also, if a pirate station gets raided, they have backup and keep on transmitting from another relay with a recorded program until they can go live again. In my opinion, pirate radio stations will always be a cat and mouse game in the UK as long as the FM band is used for casual listening. So thank you so much, Mad Radio DXer, for a really, really nice little article here. And it's really appreciated. Nice little piece, and thanks for submitting, Mad Radio DXer. Really, really cool to have that nicely done and nicely written here, nicely, really cool. Thanks for your input, and it gives an insight on how pirate stations everywhere. It's like I'd be interested to, if next time I go to New York, I'll listen in onto the FM band and try to tune in some of those pirates for sure. Also, Tongzu, is that still possible to request a shortwave card from shortwave stations nowadays? Yeah, you probably mean QSL cards. Absolutely. Most stations Not all of them, but most stations. Absolutely. They still QSL. Driver from Shortwave says, I work night shift anyway, rarely see the daylight. PLF Radio says, yep, apparently it's going to become the voice of China. You know, it changed over time. When I listened to what is China Radio International today, it was Radio Peking. Then it became Radio Beijing. Then it became China Radio International. So, you know, it's just crazy. But, yep, still, stations still QSL. A lot of them, you know, when you write to request a QSL card, always put your postal address, not just rely on your email. Many stations reply via post. So many stations send you a card by the mail. So always give your postal address at the same time as your email address. So, you know, it's very, very important. A lot of I don't know how many times I've heard how many times I've heard a shortwave station say, hey, you got to give us your full postal address. We don't have anywhere to send that QSL to. And people don't think about that for sure. Yeah, Ralph Bender says a channel with DX would increase your income significantly. Yeah, probably. There's so many things, you know, on the one moment in the tech show on Thursday, where DX was in my arms and he was sticking his paw and kind of touching my, you know, my face, and I was like, everybody in the chat was, oh, this is so cute. It was like, yeah, these are the kind of moments where cat videos are amazing. Hey, it's my pleasure, X80Xer. You've been, you know, here a long time, and you know. How about we had J.D. Williamson? He's been on for a while also, and kind of trusted face. So here we go, J.D. Williamson. You're a moderator also. The more we have, the better it is. Jet Simon says, I remember when the show was just zoomed in on the Radio Shack DX39 shortwave. I mean, there's a lot of... what else do we have? Driver from shortwave. Never liked going on camera. I just did it and was surprised I didn't lose a bunch of subs. Nobody likes the camera. You know what? The worst thing... I'm going to tell you, the worst thing ever when I do a live show is looking at myself on the display here, because I see myself here. Right there, I see my face, and I'm like, oh God. You know, I don't even want to look back at one of my videos that I see myself in. Everybody's like that. It's like listening to our voice. You guys pretty much all done that. Record your voice and listen to it afterwards. What do we say to ourselves? It's like, oh man, I sound like that. Yet, you know what? Everybody, I've done everybody, and basically everyone that did it always, you know, tell me I have a great voice, I have a radio voice, I sound fantastic when I, you know, what voice that I got a natural radio voice. But I listen to my voice, I'm like, man, I sound like that. It's so horrible. Same thing. We don't like seeing each other. You know, I got used to it after time. I can now, you know, the first live shows and the first videos I did, I was like, oh my God, I'm not going to put myself on camera. I don't want people to see me. Now, you know, I've been doing this for a few years, so now I'm kind of used to seeing my badass face now. But at the first time you do it, you're like, nah. But the worst part is, I get tons of people. My sister looked at one of my shows and said, oh, you're so photogenic. I'm like, what? I'm not photogenic. I look like some weird guy. It's just crazy, you know? Waiter Cube says bars are always a great place to find new people. Get totally related with that. Yeah, absolutely. So hey, JD Williamson is now become a moderator. Also, so it's nice to have you on board, my friend, as part of moderators. It's really, really cool. What else do we have here? I wondered what it would be like if I departed the team now that time is here. Yeah, you know. Yeah, absolutely, CRI. You're right with that. You know, we'll see if the change from China Radio to Voice of China changes something. Zach Antle, how honored is it already 6 p.m.? You know what? I tell myself all that all the time. It's like, you know, Weighted Cube says, with London, it's also a very multicultural place, which provides another dimension to music. Absolutely. 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 Mario DXer, yeah, my pleasure. You know what? It's a very, very nicely written piece of text. It was very, very nice to read it out. When I read it, absolutely, I was happy. Yeah, Dax Far 74. You've been here for a while also. Here you go, my friend, moderator. So you've earned my trust, and it's okay. You know, I mean, you can't ban me, so at least I'm safe for that. I'm the king moderator. No, but not joking. You know, some of you, it's like, and for those that wonder, don't worry. You know, it's like it's something you gotta earn. You know, when you've been there for a while and everything. Some people earn my trust, and you know, it's kind of cool and always nice. Revolutionary Brewer. That was a difficult one to pronounce, and it's not a beer. I got about a dozen QSLs back last summer by mail. Pretty cool. This is cool. You know, it's always fun to get some mail. You know. So any on ID 6300-ish 2203. There's some station on 6300 apparently. So let's check it out. 6300. Anything here? 6300. I've got interference. I can't say there's anything here. Apparently pirate maybe on 6300 for those that are XNA DX or Keegan became one. JD Williamson became one. And so it's nice to have everybody here. And Daxfar 74. So welcome to the moderator. So now you guys, for those that don't know, when you see somebody post on the right side, when you put your mouse, you have 3 little dots, and when you click, you'll have the possibility to block somebody temporarily or prevent that person from posting whatever they want to post. So if somebody comes up and does some idiot things, you guys can take care of him or her really quickly. And I think that's something. And also what's nice is if you guys want to share a radio related link to share with everybody else, you'll be able to do it. Only moderators have the possibility to share a link for a website. So welcome everyone. Richard Cook says nothing on 6300 over there. Pretty cool. Chris Freitas says, yeah, I still sometimes think I sound or look weird in some of my content. It's everybody, man. I don't know why we don't like to hear or look at each other. You know, we don't want to look our face. We don't want to listen to our voice. Listening to our voice through our own head, because when we talk, like I'm talking right now, my voice sounds different from my point of view than it is on a recorded thing. So when I look back at the shows, I'm like, oh my God, please stop. And in reality, you know, it's like, you know, everybody else is like, yeah, you know, just crazy. Why do you make the stream so laggy? I'm not laggy. I'm just going through if you look at the stream video, there's no lag here. But if you talk about the chat room, sometimes I'm far behind. David Green says, not that any of one less Joe. Have you ever thought of doing a Twitch style video with maybe an SDR in focus with a webcam or of yourself in the corner? Yeah, I did. You know, I have a Twitch account that was created for the possibility of doing multiple outputs. Actually, I had an idea of doing two outlets at the same time. So doing my YouTube live and Twitch at the same time. And basically it's you know, I don't know. I started, you know, I did a few experimentations. I even did videos on Daily Motion that does have monetization like YouTube does. Especially, I did that in a time period where YouTube monetization was crappy. I was having tons of issues with YouTube also. I mean, my YouTube time is rocky because I got channels closed down by YouTube. I had monetization taken away, then brought back. I had so many things happening with YouTube that it made me mad and made me think of there are other ways maybe that I can reach the world and do things. So I got a Twitch account that I've never streamed live from. I got a Daily Motion account where I posted videos for a while. And maybe I should check. Maybe I've got enough money to actually get something out of them. I don't know. But, you know, at some point you come back to YouTube because there's so many things YouTube is offering. But, yeah, you know, these are all things I should check for sure. That's for sure. You know. So what else do we have? Chris Freitas says the stream has lagged a few times on my Shield TV. So it not be Firefox. It has since smoothed out. You know, what I do is I often look at because I have two indications here of my live streaming. So when I stream, I have YouTube itself that has a color-coded bar. So I see that it's green, yellow, or red. It stayed green throughout the show. And I have my Wirecast software. It's telling me, the Wirecast software tells me how many kilobits per second I'm sending out, or megabits per second if you want. Which is right now an average of 3.5 megabits per second out. And I also have a little indicator with little bars. It has 5 bars total, telling me if I'm at 5 bars, I'm sending the maximum stream possible. One of the things that lags from time to time is YouTube. So there's YouTube that could be lagging, but also there's a lot of lagging that is due sometimes to the equipment that people use. So sometimes someone will post, oh, I got lagging, and everybody else will say, well, I don't. So it depends on your ISP. Don't forget one thing, guys. Internet service providers often throttle live video feeds and videos in general. It's one of their ways of making you mad at them. No problem. Daxfar74 was happy to do so. Kamal Zorro, hello there. Nice to have you here. Been a while. Man, boy's got a personal stigma against Chrome, but I will agree that it is better browser right now. And you know, I don't like to talk about a browser as one being better than the other. I'm a tech guy, and I'm a tech guy that doesn't like to give, find a favorite of something. It's like when somebody says, "Hey, I write text in the notepad." That's okay. It works for you. I use Word, but there's alternatives. But you use the notepad, it's all right. Now Paul the cat is looking at me like, "Hey, I'm hungry, and you are not taking care of me." You should see him. He's like a circus cat right now, trying everything to just get my attention. So, and thanks guys for the donations that you've been giving through the show. I've seen a few donations come through. I'll show you guys one last time, not to annoy anybody. If you wish to give me a little something, it's much appreciated. It helps me continue. And hey, if you enjoy my shows, why not think about it? PayPal.me, not .com. A lot of people do .com and say it doesn't work. No, it's .me/shortwave. And of course, if it doesn't work, you can go to your PayPal account and use the email that you see here. And Patreon, patreon.com/readingcomputers. You can become a patron. There you can set up a way of giving me a certain amount every month. And it's automatic every beginning of the month, first, second of the month. It's deducted. But it's a little tricky. Some people have been burned by this, and it's kind of, but that's what I hate about Patreon. Also, Patreon has some high fees, so that's why I kind of like better PayPal finally. But if you're here, or if you want to join here, it's all right also. Come on, man. And thanks to everybody that have donated. You guys are great. Great. Like the tiger in, what's the cereal with tiger? Frosted Flakes or something? I don't know why that came to mind. I never ate Frosted... Yeah, I ate Frosted Flakes when I was a kid. I'm sorry, I did. Yes. So, come on. What else do we have? Yeah, Microsoft Edge is an okay browser. David's using that. Pretty cool. So, hey, Fabrice Simonet. Welcome aboard. No problem. Shady Pyro 90. Been a while. Hey there. Nice to have you here. PLF Radio, don't you listen to your videos you post on YouTube? Nope. Never. I take a quick look at different portions to make sure it's okay, and then I post it. But I don't go through all of it. Sometimes I get burned because sometimes somebody will say, "Oh, that video you posted has an issue at 3 minutes 50 or something." They're telling me there's something going on. But almost never. Usually if your video seems okay from beginning to end, it's okay once it's on the air, once it's on YouTube. There's no difference. What else we have? Driver Film Shortwave. Always wanted to be a pirate, but I don't like drinking rum. Drinking rum and having a parrot on your shoulder. That's the... I would have done that today. If I had everything, I would have enjoyed having like a fake parrot and an eye patch or something. Would have been nice. Would have been a nice pirate show. And the K2 says, the other day I was listening to Amazonia on 11780, and they stayed on past 2300, and IDs as Brasilia. I was excited because I thought they were back, but they went QRT at 2303. Yeah, I miss Amazonia. I miss Brazil in the evening on 11780. Honestly. Be a Scandinavian pirate, a Viking. Oh yeah, big tough Viking. That would be nice. I'm a Viking pirate. Yeah. What else do we have? Stream is fine here, so it depends on your internet connections also. Chris Freitas says, mostly I've gotten used to it and getting more acclimated to being in front of the camera. I just need to get over a fear of talking in my videos in public places like the park. That is gonna come natural in by doing it regularly. For example, when I go to the to Perry Island, the expedition, there's always people around, and I see all these people looking at me and saying, "That guy talking to himself, or what is he doing exactly?" And at some point, it's just, who cares? You got to think about who cares. Who cares? What the hell? Who cares what the other people around you think because you're talking with a camera or anything? Who cares? And it's, I always find that fear to be, and I had that fear. I totally understand what you mean, because I had that fear at the beginning. But honestly, when you think about it, who cares? People you don't know will find you weird, so what? What does it change in your own life? Who cares? The hell with it. If you're not happy because I'm talking to myself or something, look somewhere else. That's it. It's different. But yeah, sometimes you gotta, there was I remember being annoyed one afternoon at Perry Island, the expedition. There was a family there having a barbecue, and they had like 6 kids with them that were really noisy. And every time I would fire up the camera for a video, the kids would start screaming. I was going. It was driving me mad. I was like, I need to do this video of that station that I'm hearing right now. But man, and it's like, Yeah, exactly. As Judd Simon says, we hear the vibrations within our skull, which is very different from when we hear it outside. XNADX, or 8-second delay, not bad. Not bad. David Green says, interesting, just a thought. I'm happy with the current YouTube format too. Yeah, it's okay. Bobby Burgess getting something on 6924.7. Do I got something on 6925? Let's go to 6925. And got nothing here, and still don't really see much on the bands. And we have the return of Paul the Cat, because I'm ignoring him, and he's getting annoyed because I've been ignoring him for the past hour. But he's been like, dancing around, putting his paw on my knee, saying, "Hey, human, I'm here and I am hungry. Hey, you're a nice cat. Everybody loves Paul the Cat. I love Paul the Cat. Look at that. Such a nice kitty." That's a nice picture, by the way. I like this one. Hey, kitty. At least there's a beautiful face on the camera. And, so nothing here that I can note. Oh, yeah, maybe a little bit. Look at that. Look at that. There's a very slight thing here. And I can almost tell you it's 6924.7. There's a very, very weak thing there. You're totally right, Bobby. But it's too weak for me to make out. It's very weak, very thin line. Very weak right now, but there's a pirate. There's something definitely on 6924.7. So, yeah. What else do we have? Just going down slowly, guys, so if I'm a little far. Any retro gaming tonight, Joe? Fastload? I don't think so. But I was thinking about one thing at Fastload. You know what? I need to test out the new... for the past week, there's a new way of streaming live on YouTube. And you can do it through Google Chrome. You know what? Maybe a retro gaming to test it out. I'll do a retro gaming to test out the Google Chrome streaming. That could be nice. Next Forest says, yeah, I got a lot of fans. I got a lot of people that tell me all the time, partly what keeps me going also is the fact that I always get regularly people saying, man, I'm a big fan of what you do and it's just so great. And even Sheldon Harvey from the Canadian International DS Club the other day sent me an email and we're talking, was telling me how it was good what I did at the International Radio Report on SKUT. And he said, what you do on to promote the hobby of radio and shortwave listening is commendable. It's amazing, and it's just great. And I was like, wow, it feels good when people tell you. Always feels good when somebody tells you you're great and I love what you do. David Green, new cinnamon frosted flakes are pretty good. Oh, really? Wow. I don't think I've eaten frosted flakes since I was a teenager. I don't believe I've ever bought... I don't buy cereal, first of all. But I don't think I've ever eaten frosted flakes since I was a teen. Back then, my mom would buy the packages with the small boxes. There was 10 different boxes of cereal. That is when I would eat frosted flake, because part of the cereals were frosted flakes. But I don't eat cereal. I've never been a fan of cereal. I would not even eat it for breakfast. I remember as a teen, I'd take a box and eat it out of the box like that while watching TV, like a bag of chips or something. Walkerball 39, nice to have you here. So very, very weak. There's something definitely, Bobby, on 6924.7. I see it appear on my waterfall. Very, very weak. David Green is hearing it. Pretty cool. Oh man, I got cat hair everywhere. Don't forget the eye patch. Take care, my friend. Let's go down faster. Sorry here, I'm a little far back. Oh man, Fabrice, you know what? I did a retro gaming with my nephew Gabriel, where we actually had a Japanese dish, and I said, "Hey, we're gonna have Japanese food. Why not drink sake?" And he actually brought a couple of bottles of sake. And man, we were retro gaming and getting drunk on sake. It was crazy. Parrot in the eye patch. Absolutely. You have a good pirate laugh. Hey! Har! That would be like more of a pirate. Har! My neighbor must be saying, what the hell is he doing in that room? Har har! Oh man. Spaghetti and meatballs sounds really good with salad and garlic toast. Oh man. MDK2, I want to go over and eat. I'm hungry. That sounds so good. Are you sending me an invite for that spaghetti and meatballs? I want some. Oh man. I'm really getting hungry now. Honestly. Really am. Oh God. Everybody wants to see the cat and doesn't care about me. It's not true. A pirate cap. Yeah. I need to find some way to do it in the next pirate special. Well, I'll be dressed as a pirate. That'd be kind of really, really fun. So what else do we have here? Am I missing anything? Let's check out. Douglas Perry says, hi DX, nice to have you here. Gary Golin, hey, nice to have you here, Gary. Pretty cool. Brett Wayne, KC2 and XP. Nice to have you here. Says 6924.7 is S1 to S3 in Salamanca, New York. Pretty cool. Phil says, yeah, variety packs. Every time we went on holiday, we always had them. Yeah. And Real DX says, oh yeah, I remember those small cereal boxes. Rice Krispies, Cocoa Puffs. Yeah, absolutely. I like those. But of course, as a teen, you always get the same ones. And my mom would get mad because it's like, yeah, you didn't actually eat the cornflakes. Yeah, those are the ones that are not good. Jerry, oh yeah, man, I'm so hungry now. Jerry says frosted flakes, Lucky Charms, and Boo Berry were my favorite. Yeah. Oh man, I am hungry. Totally. Oh yeah, Raisin Bran. These are good. Raisin Bran is actually really good. Oh man. Cinnamon Toast Crunch. We're actually, making a kind of a brand here. I have to be in the mood for cereal much these days, says Kimberly. What do you eat for breakfast then, Joe? I almost never eat breakfast, honestly. I am one of those guys that skips breakfast, and everybody tells me, you should not do that, it's not good. I'm never hungry in the morning. I have a big cup of coffee, and if I do eat something, I'll have toast and peanut butter. Something like that. But usually my breakfast is 3 huge cups of coffee. Pretty much. And then I will eat around noon. But most of the time I don't. And you know what? Let's congratulate our first female moderator, Kimberly, K6YYL. Welcome to the moderator status. Huh? Why not? We didn't have any women moderators here, not on the Shortwave channel. I mean, we have some on the Tech channel, not here. So Kimberly, welcome to the fantastic world of being a moderator and being able to kick away any idiots that show up in the chat room. Oh man. Yeah, man. Indicator, sure, Joe, come on by. Dinner will be ready in an hour. Oh, lasagna. That's also pretty good. Now I don't know where I'm going to go. Man. I'll just get in my rocket. Absolutely. I'll call my friend Kim Jong-un to put me in one of his nuclear-powered rockets. Jerry says you need a poutine. You're getting too thin. Yeah, come on. I'm fat. I'm a fat guy. I'm not a real big fat guy, but I lost 30 pounds. I'm happy about it, though. I have lost 30 pounds. Trying to lose a little more. This is not helping, of course, but, just crazy. Chef Boyardee. Patrick. Man, Chef Boyardee. Wow. Oh, I could eat spaghetti and meatballs every day. I love pasta. I would eat every type of pasta every day, all the time. My stream output here is okay, Fastload. I don't know about everybody else, but my streaming output is I got no problem here. So I don't know. Juan Amigo, welcome aboard, mi amigo. Judd Simon says, Polycat is obviously running the teleprompter because he gets the screen, the host gets all rogue. Oh, God. Richard's pirate, there's a pirate on 1649 kilohertz, Richard Cook. Hey, Southern Illinois Stan, nice to have you on board. Looking for a cheap laptop to run an SDR dongle on. Can you recommend what to look for in a used laptop, processor, RAM, brand? You know what is cool about that, Southern Illinois, Sam? The SDRs run on very, very low power. Just to give you an idea, the Ephedry SDR here is running on an old Core 2 desktop. And on just behind here, I've got an old laptop, which is a Core 2 Duo Windows 7 laptop. Also an old thing. It runs all the SDRs, my RTL SDR or the Ephedry, as if nothing happened. So, you know what? You don't need too much power, honestly. Anything from a Core 2 Duo up will actually run any SDR quite well. Look at that. Just look here. I've got Chrome open, I've got Notepad open, and I've got HD SDR running, And my CPU total on my desktop here, which is really a crappy desktop computer from HP, and it's like 26% load on CPU. You really don't need a lot of power, honestly. It's just crazy. So you don't have to, if you don't want to, you don't have to spend a lot of money on that. Anybody has buffering, by the way? So David says not here. So I think it's at your end that's happening, Fastlane, because nobody else is complaining right now. And here everything's green here. So I don't know. Ralph Bender says streaming is fine over there. It must be that damn Videotron. Videotron has decided to wage a war against my YouTube streaming because it takes too much data. As Bobby Burgess says, almost every computer is great for SDR. Absolutely. Fastload skips it too. Like some old used Dell laptop with an i5. It would be an i5 will run your SDR really well. I can tell you. Don't worry about the gigahertz or anything. If you got an i5, it's going to run your SDR like first class. An i5 is actually very powerful. Even the first generation i5s are actually super powerful. It's going to run really well. I'm running my stuff on old junk. That's way farther back than i5 Intel CPUs. And it's running #1. Can tell you that. Hey, the Asian Weatherboy. Nice to have you on board from Shakopee, Minnesota. I hope I pronounced it well. Gary Golay has yogurt and bananas for breakfast. That's okay. That's okay. You know, why not? Why not? What else do we have? What else do we have? Well, I'm honored. Yeah, well, Kimberly, you've been there for a while. You've been on and off here for a long time, and I'm happy to join this. I can tell you that. Daxfar 74. So here's the thing, okay? Next week is the last weekend of the month of March. So guys, remember one thing, that next Friday is the VHF UHF show. We're not going to be on this channel. We're going to be on the VHF UHF side. So that's the first thing you got to know. And we're going to talk about, last time we talked, we pretty much spent all the time talking about the airband. We're going to talk about whatever. Try to listen to some satellites there with the ICOM and have a lot of fun. Now, I don't know yet. Okay, I don't want to announce something that I'm maybe not going to be able to do because of some unforeseen future. But Sunday, April 1st is, it's April Fool's, first of all. It's Easter Sunday, second of all, which is kind of funny. I can imagine all the Easter pranks that are going to be done because it's Easter and April Fool's. But there's a possibility that I'll have a special Easter Sunday show next week, okay? And when will I know if this is going to happen? Probably like only Wednesday or Thursday of this week. Because I don't want to take on something and then some people will be mad at me because I can't join in. So I'm not sure yet. But there's a big possibility there will be a Easter Sunday show. So that will be a whatever happens show. So no official, subject or anything. We're just gonna take it easy, honestly. So I'll be posting a video on the Shortwave channel to let everybody know if this is gonna happen. Okay. That's pretty much what I got to say. Cosmic Lennis, hey there, nice to have you on board. Richard Cook's got a Pirate on 1640 also. Pretty cool. So what else do we have? Muglon's got pizza tonight. That's not bad. I'm gonna have shepherd's pie. I bought a big shepherd's pie that was already, it's already like at the grocery store. It looked good, and I thought I'm gonna have a live show. I won't feel like doing two hours of cooking before I eat, so I bought something that was already done. You're totally right, MDK2. Hey, Cosmic Lettuce, you are part of the moderators also. Cosmic Lettuce, welcome to the moderator status moments. And I really need to go. Are you still doing that astronomy show every day? I need to go and watch your astronomy stuff. I really need to. It's it's not that I don't wanna. It's I never think about it. I need to put a reminder somehow to have me knowing it. So Wow, Zach Antle lost 25 pounds in just 2 months living off grid in Hawaii, and I need to lose another 20 pounds honestly. Moderator the extra. Can I nominate Mad Boy for moderator? I don't want to be only mad moderator here. Yeah, why not? Why not? Here we go. Been there for a long time also. So here, welcome aboard, Mad Boy. So now Cosmic Lettuce and Mad Boy are added. Weighted Cube, what do you think of Kiwi SDR and the potential of having a network of SDRs to listen to? I kind of like that. The Kiwi SDR stuff is fun. I actually have the page open here because I was thinking that maybe if I have time today, I could go and tune some of these Kiwi SDRs. They are amazingly cool things, and having a network of SDRs from around the world to tune around on the bands is actually an extremely good idea and something really, really cool. Really, really cool. What did I just do? Oh, I just tuned one. Sorry, guys. Okay. I had just tuned one. So, anyways, it's cool. The only thing that's sad about Kiwi SDRs is the fact that there's only 4 simultaneous connections possible. But apart from that, it's cool. Honestly, it's really, really nice. So, So what else do we have here? Yeah, i3 will work very well for SDRs too. Like I told you, I got 2 Core 2 Duos, which are much older than the i3, 5, 7, whatever Intel CPUs. And it still works great. So, it's midnight where Ralph Bender is. That means you are now entering into Sunday. We're still off by... Here, local time is 6:52 p.m. Early evening, basically. J.D. Williamson says, my SDR runs on a single core 1.4 gigahertz and 2 gigs of RAM. So it gives you an idea, Southern Illinois saying, you really don't need a lot of power to run them. Really not a lot of power. Madboy says, and yet my i5 can handle Firefox. That's, another story for you. I can tell you that. So everybody says the stream is excellent, so I get, I guess, more of a, local thing. Sorry, guys. What else do we have? Let me go down. I'm really, really far here. I'm coming down, guys. Hey, F. Blassie. I also am promoting you to moderator. FB Lassie. I don't know how you want to be called, but moderator. And you've been also a generous donator also. So all of that together. What did I just do? Periodic S-meter measurements. No, I don't want that. And I don't even know what that is as a feature of HDSDR. So F Lassie, you are moderator by default now also. Pretty cool. So Chromecast is up. Android DXer. Bobby Burgess, you can do SDRing on an ARM Chromebook, but an Intel Chromebook with Crouton or Gallium will work great. Oh, interesting. Cool. I just bought a cheap Newelec SDR USB dongle, and all it gets is FM radio. Must be something you have not set up right, Patrick. It must, because it gets more than that. It gets more than that. You have much more than that. So, the SDRs themselves don't take much. It's what taking a lot is the software running it. Because the SDRs themselves don't take that much. Yeah, Easter weekend will be good. And not just that, Jerry DX. Easter weekend, next week, is Global HF Pirate Weekend. All together. It's Easter weekend and Global HF Pirate Weekend. So that's something to check out for. Driver Film Shortwave says, apparently Easter falls on the same day as April Fool's Day, so go and send the kids outside, find Easter eggs you didn't hide. Yeah, I saw that one go through. It was kind of, oh yeah. You just put an empty box of chocolate. Empty box of chocolate. That would be just... nice drawing of a big, any animal or something in chocolate, but once they open the box, there's nothing inside. Oh, that would be, especially for children, that would be like, oh, they're going to start crying or something. Radioactive, are there special Easter broadcasts on Shortwave? Not that I know of, honestly. Apart from religious stations like, Catholic station WWN probably has some special stuff. I don't know of any special broadcast that is for the Easter weekend, honestly. So, so Cosmic Lettuce, I'm going down slowly. And Judd Simon, you've been there quite regularly also, a good guy. Judd Simon, moderator. Hey there. Eric Cottrell says, I had pizza last night. What is the French word for shepherd's pie? Shepherd's pie is in French either pâté à la viande ou tourtière, depending on who you are. Tourtière or pâté à la viande is French for shepherd's pie. Oh no, wait. I'm mixing up here. Wait. I don't want to mix up things here. Let me just think about it for a second. Whoa. I might have mixed up something. Shepherd's pie is a... So shepherd's pie... Let me just make sure that I'm not mixing it up. No, a shepherd's pie is... Okay, here it goes. So a shepherd's pie is actually a pâté chinois. In Quebec, and here in Quebec we call it a pâté chinois. So I'm sorry, it's not a shepherd's pie. It's like a meat pie I'm going to have. Because the shepherd's pie is pâté chinois. If we're talking about potatoes and beef and the cream of corn pie, the three layer thing, that's the shepherd's pie, and that's pâté chinois. I'm sorry, I'm mixing up shepherd's pie here. It's pâté chinois. So what else we have? Hey, take care, Dexfar 74. What else do we have? I don't know if there's a moderator limit on what channel. It's possible. So that means on this channel I'm probably getting close to the limit. There might be a limit of moderators, absolutely. You know, you got to do it to people that you know won't start. You know, can a moderator block another moderator? I don't know. I don't know if it works. I know you guys that are moderators cannot block me because I'm the kind of the top honcho here. But I don't know. I think somebody said a moderator can't act against another moderator. I'm the only one who can actually go and, of course I can demote a moderator. I can use a moderator if he goes rogue and just, say, hey, you're not there anymore. So, hey, take care, Ralph. Nice to have you here. Radio Romania does an Easter thing. Oh, really? It's possible, because I kind of remember something, No, tourtière is a meat pie. It's kind of a meat pie. I don't know if there's a, an official name for it in English. Which beer are you drinking today, Joe? Completely forgot to ask. This one is the regular, which has been one of my favorites for a long time. Fin du Monde, which is one of my good, favorite beers. I still have one left. I'm not drinking too. No, a Sipai is more like. For me, it's like more of a. If you can tell me one thing, the difference between a Sipai and the Tortillas de Lac Saint-Jean, because the more I read, because I do the Tortillas de Lac Saint-Jean for Christmas every time. It's the recipe for my grandmother. And when I see Sipai, I have the impression it's the same thing, it's just a different name. Oh man, okay, going down. Because I'm really far. When you see people talking about something 20 minutes ago, you're like, well, maybe I should move on in the chat room a little more. HF Underground says there might be something on 6960. By the way. So here, I've got something on 6960, absolutely. And I can distinctly hear music on 6960. There's a pirate right now. So yeah, tortilla is a meat pie. Exactly, Jerry. That's it. Tortilla sounds like torture. So it's a shepherd's pie is a pâté chinois. No, it's not Chinese food at all. I don't know why they call it pâté chinois. It's not Chinese. Stick blidin patate, like Fastlord says, yeah. So, pâté chinois. Yeah, well, unfortunately, you can't block me. I can revolt and block everybody else, though. Fabrice Simonet, any why long-wave stations are virtually non-existent in North America? I don't know why. It's been something that that's been there. And by the way, Fabrice, let's try to reach the limit. Fabrice Simonet, you are a moderator. Woohoo! Moderator status, Fabrice. Okay. So anyway, I don't know why exactly. There's never been any broadcasters in the long wave band in North America. I know it's something that's been there for quite a while in Europe, and I don't know, it never took off here. Something prevented that from taking off, basically. That's pretty much what I got to say. But why? I don't really know why. So, honestly. You can block yourself, David Arden? Really? Okay, today I am blocking myself. Jill got a crown, not a wrench. She's on another level. Yeah, pretty much. Well, there's a cat hair on my beer. I wonder what could have done that. Oh, I can't even take it off. Cat hair on the beer. David Arden says, Shepherd's Pie made read from real shepherds. Ooh. Oh, God. Bobby Burgess says 6960, nothing there. I got a cat filter in my beer. I bought Paul the cat a little mouse. You know those little crank up mouses that you actually crank up and it goes on its own? He just looked at it, then looked at me and said, really, human? You think I'm that type of cat that's just going to start running after some kind of plastic mouse? Which that's like, okay, I just spent $5 for nothing. SWL France, bonjour, welcome, nice to have you here. 3600 AM, there's something there apparently. Anybody getting 6910 USB? 6910, got nothing. Let's check out the, let's refresh the log here. Dr. Detroit is on 6960 AM. I'm hearing him a little bit here. So Dr. Detroit 6960 AM. 6924.7 is Insane Radio. That was the other one that was weak here that Bobby was hearing. 6910 upper sideband, unidentified station right now. 2251 UT. So, anybody logged anything? Is 9 signal? Is there a play? So no ID right now. 6910, but there's a pirate there definitely right now apparently. So some pirate activity tonight. Some pirate activity tonight going on. Radioactive is nothing. Cats love cardboard boxes. Oh yeah, that you know what? I have these good food boxes. I actually got 2 here because he just loves them. Can tell you that. Exceeding the extra is not receiving 6910 also. Bobby 6910 USB there. Okay. Southern Illinois saying, yeah, the Canadians, Montreal Canadians playing at home. I had the opportunity to see them live at the Bell Center a couple of weeks back, thanks to a friend of mine. It was a lot of fun. I was really close. I never had been so close to a hockey game of my life. It was really, really nice. Honestly. Hey, you're watching the Shortwave show. This is, or the radio show, or whatever you want to call it. It's a bad radio. Yeah, that old thing that people don't do anymore, apparently, from some other people. But this is a show where we talk about radio that's still, and yes, very alive. Tonight is a pirate radio special. We're trying to tune in pirate stations. One on 6960 that I'm getting here. One on 6910 upper sideband. The 6960 I'm hearing a little bit here. Not super strong, but it's there. I can hear the music in the background. So, and I can definitely see the line and the waterfall that the station is slightly making it right here at my location in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. My name is Gilles. Hope you guys are having fun. What else do we have? So, David Arden. Blocking yourself prevents others from something stupid, you're right. Unfortunately, some people should block themselves. Not in here, but sometimes it'd be a good idea. Yeah, University of 20. You can, one of the SDRs let's try something here. Talking of SDRs. I'm not ready to the answer. It's okay, joke. Richard Cook got French on 59.90. That intrigues me. French on 59.90. I'm getting English. I'm getting CRI from, I believe, Cuba on 59.90. So let's try something here. I'm going to go and get myself through an SDR in the United States. So let's check out which one I'm going to choose. New Jersey, USA. I'm going to get that one, New Jersey, USA. And from this one in New Jersey, USA, we are going to tune to 6960. Definitely some music. So we hear some music, 6960 in the New Jersey SDR. And let's try 6910 upper sideband. Yep. It's a little off, minus some music there too. So we have a New Jersey. We can hear them both in New Jersey, both with some music. And somebody's calling me right now. So from New Jersey, we hear the two pirate stations from the New Jersey SDR here. Let me just close down that panel here. So look, we see the line through the SDR from New Jersey. So 6909.9 is more, it could be the SDR that's off though. So 69. So it's, in New Jersey we can hear it, and we can hear 6960 AM mode also. So this is kind of nice. Some pirate radio stations. So you guys down in the East Coast are probably hearing it. More in the East Coast. Patrick Manny, I have a question. Are PL660's battery eaters? I had to replace the batteries already and only had it for 6 months. Not that I know of. Is it because you didn't use it and the batteries were dead? Is that what you mean, Patrick? You didn't use it a lot and the batteries were dead after 6 months? Because my PL680 is actually really good on the regular batteries, and they keep alive for a while. I don't know, because if you use it and it's been 6 months, it's actually a good runtime. When you use it a lot, 6 months for batteries is not that bad a runtime. But if you mean it didn't use it much and after 6 months the batteries were dead, and I use rechargeable, so I kind of have difficulty really tracking the battery consumption of a lot of my radios, honestly. Gary Golin, nothing on 6910 in Michigan. Judge Simon says, hearing 6960 on the Jersey Shore. You know what? I got the New Jersey SDR here. 6910 upper sideband and 6960 AM. Both pirates are heard well in New Jersey. So maybe they're a little down south, in the East Coast somewhere. Brian Penny from Cape Cod, nice to have you here. David Arden says 6960 AM signal, yep. Brett Wayne says 6910 is S0, but it can hear it. You're closer to New Jersey than I am, so kind of, yeah. SOL France is 3600 kilohertz QSO. Huh, interesting. En français. Oh, nice. Bobby says 6910 upper sideband is stronger. Let's go down, let's go down, let's go down. Sorry guys about... hey, take care, Mad Radio DXer. Always nice to have you on board. And next Friday is the VHF UHF show. Don't forget, we're on the other channel, not here. Radio Palace says the PL660 drained the batteries quite a lot when not used. Ah, it's interesting. Thanks for the input, Retro Palace. You know what? I will do a test with my PL680. Put batteries in it and see if it drains the batteries faster than other radios. Well, that is weird because, I mean, when it's not used, the only thing that should be running is the LCD display, which typically takes no power. An LCD takes absolutely no power. What could it be doing to drain the batteries, honestly? David in Barcelona says, my PL660 has quite a normal battery consumption for a digitally tuned radio. Use rechargeables in mine, especially IKEA lattice, which seem to be Panasonic end loops in disguise. Huh. But you know, I understand what you say. One radio that I can actually honestly say has a battery drain when unused, and it's somebody that actually started talking about it in a forum, and I had not noticed because I was using it all the time. But if you leave batteries in your Countycom GP5 SSB and you're not using it, and you come back a month and a half later, you notice your batteries are dead, and you're like, I didn't use it. Maybe it is something that is common, because honestly this is made by Texan. It's a Texan PL 365, honestly, in a different branding. Maybe it's a Texan problem. Maybe it's something we can measure with some Texan receivers. Maybe not all of them, but it's kind of interesting. It's kind of an interesting thing to subject here. Yeah, really kind of interesting here. So take care, Driver Films. Always nice to have you here, as usual. What else is there here? Chris Freitas says, I too have the PL660. I use the Texan batteries and Energizer rechargeable. All seem to have good battery life. It has been about a month since I last recharged one set. But maybe what is interesting here is to... maybe he means when he's not using it, which is a different thing. You know, if you use it all the time, you don't notice that, because they're honestly a digital display radio with, you know, PLL and everything has a certain battery consumption, honestly. But you know, it could explain one thing. For example, what radio was I using the other day? I wonder if it was in my Texan PL 680. And I came to use it, and the batteries were dead. And I had not used it for a month. But, you know, I thought, okay, maybe my rechargeable batteries were already drained. But, you know, it raises a question. Is the battery using an unusually high, you know, is there an unusually high consumption of power when it's turned off? Which should not be. LCD displays don't take energy. They take so little energy, you could run an LCD display of a AA battery for years before it actually stops. So it means something's happening. Maybe something is happening, and that's interesting. David Arden says 6910 coming in S9 to 10 over S to over 9 in Georgia. So he's probably down south. 6960, 6910 is down south. Wow. Interesting. That's interesting. You know, there's a lot of things that sometimes you got to check out on receivers, and you're like, wow, this is crazy. It's like that radio seems to drain batteries. And until somebody told me, I had not noticed. And I have, since then, only put rechargeables in my GP5 because if I put alkalines, they'll drain. Especially if you put an alkaline set of batteries. You put Duracells, new Duracells in your receiver, and you don't use it for 2 months or a month, and the batteries are drained. You're like, what the hell has happened to the batteries? It's just not normal, Bobby Burgess says 6910 Upper Sideman coming in hot in Louisiana. Pretty cool. So, hey, we've maintained a very steady 100. Yeah, you know what? I should actually use my multimeter that I have here and measure its milliamps that it's using while it's actually turned off, and see if it actually is over. I would technically think that unless you've got a really sensitive meter, just an LCD display should display almost 0 because it's so low in power consumption. Kind of interesting. Huh. Hey, David Arden, Bobby Burgess. Would you like to exchange email? That sounds like a date. A internet date. Sorry, guys. Kidding. Just having fun here. Cheers, everyone. Oh, absolutely. As Fabrice says, you got to consider that a lot of batteries, a lot of nickel-metal hydride batteries, or even worse on nickel cadmiums, have a self-discharge rate that is very high. But all the ones that I have here, including the Amazon Basics, are low discharge ones, like the Eneloops. They keep most of their charge. I think they're rated as it is more of a like 10% a year or something. Cosmic Lettuce, gotta get some work. Going to lurk. No problem. Take care, Cosmic Lettuce. I need to be there for sure in one of your astronomy stuff. Oh, same religion. Oh, that's cool. There's always, it's always, when we have the same type of interest or the same type of, it's always nice to, have somebody. And it was a joke. Don't take it bad, please. Jenny Williamson says IKEA batteries for life. I know a lot of people buy the IKEA batteries and seem to be really happy. For sure. Richard says you should try the SDR on U20 for your Pirates. Now let's check it out here. Let's check it out. Absolutely. I'm just going to start the chat here. Let's go to due to when U20 SDR. Here we go. And so here we are, the U20 SDR. Volume is low. It's maximum here. Anything in the 6200, 6200. Let's check out what's in here. That SDR is really, there we go. Volume. So that's 62. Okay. That's USB AM. Nothing in here. Stanag. All the stuff there. Just for the sake of it, let's try the buzzer to see how strong it is here. Wow, look at that. The buzzer is amazingly strong in the Netherlands. Wow. Yeah, Bobby. Yeah, that could be nice, but it's because it's an add-on, and that's why it's making complicated to have DRM on these things. Let me just check here. Any pirate? Oops. HF Underground. Anything special in the Euro Pirates right now? About laser odd hits, nobody's mentioning anything there. You still have some medium wave pirates, Richard? Let's check out. Let's check out 1600. Kilohertz, 1600 AM mode, of course. Oh. It is so interesting. To tune the medium wave band from another country, especially in Europe. So amazing. This is so interesting to tune around. $16.55. Look at that. And that's 1680 kilohertz upper sideband. There's something on 1680 upper sideband in Europe. Oh, look at that. It's a Norwegian maritime radio station. $16.80 upper sideband. It's a Norwegian maritime station with probably some kind of weather broadcast. But it's kind of cool. Kind of cool. Harry Cottrell says, I saw an article the other day about IKEA 2245 being envelopes in disguise. And you know what? A lot of the batteries and a lot of things we buy from other brands that are weird brands are often known brands that are disguised as other things. And it's surprising sometimes what we can have. I don't remember which alkaline brand. There's an alkaline brand that costs less, and I remember reading an article that they were disguised Duracell alkaline batteries, and were actually sold with, costless, but they were actually Duracell alkaline batteries, disguised also. Kind of crazy, Oh man. Mad Boy, yep, that is Norwegian. Thanks, Mad Boy, for letting me know. And it sounded because I kind of have the ear for languages, and I thought, nah, that sounds like some kind of, North Europe language or some sort. Patrick Manny says, and I agree totally. Amazon Basics rechargeables have been amazing for me too. I use them everywhere. Almost all of my radios have Amazon Basics. Hey, by the way, guys, for those that want to know, don't forget, I'll be reviewing this little thing soon. The XH Data D38. And look at that. This is so weird. This thing actually has what looks like a frequency display. Let me just put it on shortwave here. That is, it looks like old LEDs from the 80s. This is so weird. It really looks like old LEDs from the old times. So this will be reviewed, and of course I'll post videos of reception of stations this week, honestly. Okay. David says, same way I feel when I tune the medium wave bands on the Senjin Kiwi SDR. So many different signals to discover. Oh, it's just crazy. One evening I was, it was late. It was like 1 a.m. local here. I decided to tune in to the Swedish. There's one in Sweden, and I started tuning around. And I actually started tuning on the medium wave band. And I was amazed. I remember I heard BBC4. I heard tons of things, including, it's so unusual because here in North America, honestly, apart from a couple of stations that broadcast multilingual stuff, here in North America, almost everything is in English. So you tune around and you're like, okay. And you occasionally hear some, Spanish one, but 90% of everything is English. So it's like, yeah. So I'm listening to the US, or I'm listening to Canada, or I'm listening, But there, it's like in Europe, it's just a mishmash of languages. It's like, oh man, this is so weird, tuning around and having all the different languages and trying to make out, what language is this one? Well, I think that's Swedish, or Norwegian, or Finnish, or even Russian, or it's crazy. It's just crazy. Really, 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 really cool, honestly. Just Simon says there are only 2 or 3 major battery manufacturers in the US for lead acid automotive batteries. Honestly, there isn't 50 different companies that make batteries. There's a handful of companies. They brand their stuff. There's the Chinese really cheap shit that you have to avoid, because not only don't they last long, but they also will leak in your devices all the time. And then you got the more, I'd say, the better brands that, honestly, there's not 25 different brands making batteries. There's a handful of batteries, alkaline, whatever, honestly. David Arden says, I loved Longwave 2 was in Germany during reunification. Several Longwave stations changed names. Kind of cool. Oh, thanks. 587 just uploaded a kick video of a scan of the full medium wave band in France. Nice. Yeah, do a long wave one too. Absolutely. Yeah, it is a very curious radio. Absolutely, David. Eric Cottrell says, yes, certain Duracell rechargeables are likely disguised as envelopes. So, kind of weird. It's interesting to see that, you know. And let's not make something new. Just take the battery from some other one or whatever. Air Control heard RCN 770 from Columbia instead of New York. Yeah, wow. That's a good one, because New York is usually the big gun station you hear all the time. That reminds me, Eric, of in the 1990s. I was here in Montreal. You probably know, Eric, that I'm just gonna shove this one off. So here in Montreal, for those that don't know, if I put 800 kilohertz, this is our local medium wave English talk station on the medium wave band.
MX Clothing, Quebec and Saint-Hyacinthe. Concerts, festivals, fun events.
So, of course, you can't really DX anything else since there's a station here. But in the 1990s, there was one day that CJ80 800 was off the air. They did like some kind of maintenance from like midnight to 3 or 4 a.m. So for a period of 3 to 4 hours, they were not there. So I decided I'm going to stay up and start tuning around. And back in the early 90s, 800 kilohertz from Transworld Radio Bonaire and the Antilles, Netherlands Antilles, and the Caribbean, they were a big gun, powerful transmitter. But I never thought I would hear them. But I stayed up, and I remember being amazed at hearing a clear identification of Transworld Radio Bonaire on 800 kilohertz. And I was like, whoa, this is so cool. I'm hearing Bonaire in the Caribbean on medium wave. This is amazingly cool. There was no other stations blocking it or anything. And you know what? I stayed up like 2 hours just listening to it. Because it was like just so amazing. And of course, never heard it again because 800 kilohertz is pretty much that. Yeah, the Angry Phone station, absolutely, Eric. We have the equivalent in French. So, it's like, there's the crap, angry, whatever, It's those one of those stations are like, yeah, okay. Absolutely, Eric. So, hey guys, I've been out for 3 hours and 37 minutes. I think it's a good run for tonight. Oh yeah, Eric, absolutely. I've mentioned that actually we're increasing their power again. So I hope 800 kilohertz drops off for a couple of hours. They need to do some kind of maintenance again. I want to try it out. So, thanks everybody for being here. Thanks for those that donated, by the way. You've all been amazing people. And I'm still amazed at 87 people in chat in the live show. Yeah, MDK2 it is sign off time. I've been good. 3 hours and 37 is pretty good, And I'm getting a little drunk, honestly. You know what? I still have a beer. And I don't know if it's because I've not eaten anything before the show. But my third beer is kind of making me drunk now. I gotta say, I'm a little drunk. I was like, man, I'm starting to have slur problems while pronouncing names. So thanks everybody for being here. Friday, 2000 hours UTC. We have VHF, UHF channel. So that's going to be that. And guys, put it on the calendar. If it happens, and there's a good chance it will, we will be maybe having a Easter Sunday special for those wondering what I'm doing. I had these red things in the window because there was too much sun. Anyways, so I might be Fabrice, take care. And I hope to see you again, Fabrice. Absolutely. Please. Curtis Bazar Jr. Hey, from USA. Nice to have you here. And yes, absolutely, Cosmic Lettuce. Actually, this week, Cosmic Lettuce, I had a nice peek. I think it was Monday night or Tuesday night. Crescent Moon, Venus, Crescent Moon, Mercury, and Venus all lined up. Monday, Tuesday, something like that. And I didn't remember. I knew it was happening, honestly. And I looked at west, and I was like, oh, wow, look at the crescent moon. Then I saw the really bright star, which is, Venus is so easy to see. I was like, oh, Venus. That's right. Venus is slowly coming to visit us, in the evening. And then I noticed a very faint one, and I said, oh, Mercury. It's the time for Mercury also. So there's a crescent moon. I believe the order was crescent moon, Mercury, and Venus. And I saw the crescent moon was 2 days ago. It was very beautiful. The crescent moon in Aldebaran, the star that were really close in the evening, was very beautiful sight also. So anyways. So yeah, there might be an April Fool's / Easter show. And take care, everybody. Love you all. So let's just do this. For Kimberly, let's do a little peek outside. She wants to peek outside. And no, not very rare, absolutely, but absolutely very cool to see. It's always something. And Mercury is not something I see very often. So it was kind of cool to also see Mercury. And it was very, very, very nice. And I will be there, Cosmic Lettuce. I have to be there. I'll have to put a reminder. Electronics USA, take care, from Southern California. It's nice to have everybody here, 73s. And for our girl there, let's do a little peek at the outside world of Montreal, Canada, which is right here. I don't know why it's stuck. Oh, it's stuck here. Okay, here we go. So here, Kimberly, let me just do this. Here we go. This is the outside world, Kimberly. Sorry about all the lights. These are all the spotlights you see in the window. Sorry. So, unfortunately, it's not the best view possible, but it's there. Let's just do something. I'm going to try something, an experiment here. Do this so that it removes a little bit. Oh, look at that, guys. So here goes. Oh, this is a story. Yeah. So anyways, it's the best I can do unless I shut down the windows. Shut down the lights, sorry. So anyways, I'll try to do better next time. I'll try to find a way to do it better. So hey everybody. Take care. Stay safe. And for those that never donated, don't forget, there's a way to donate to this show. And it looks like this. Don't forget. Kind of nice to receive a little something. And always nice to have everybody on board. Don't forget, last thing, yes, oh yeah, I'm going to fade out, David, absolutely. And don't forget, new schedules. We are in the new schedule season. We will be at the 8/18 schedules in what? 17 minutes time. That means the stations are using their summer schedules for now. So very important. Very important. Remember that your favorite station, if it's not on the frequency you like. And next week, don't forget, it's Global Pirate HF Weekend. Not only is it Easter weekend, where pirates are usually more present, they're there all the time. It's also the weekend where there's Global HF Pirate. Yeah, I do have snow. We have about a foot of snow on the ground, Gary. You just probably didn't notice it. We have about a foot of snow. But it's really melting a lot. In the next few weeks, we probably won't have any more. And so, Global HF Pirate Weekend, which means even more pirates next week. And so, Friday, 2000 hours UTC, VHF, UHF. We'll try to tune satellites, including a few new amateur satellites that are in orbit. talk about VHF, scanner radio, and so on. And keep your eye open for a possible 2000 hours UTC show Sunday, April 1st, Easter Sunday, and April Fools at the same time. Take care, everybody. It was a lot of fun to do tonight. Thanks for being great fans, and it's always fun to have all of you here. So here goes. Fade out, as we've discovered last week.